We are going. Why am I so dark on my screen? That's a little bit better. All right, here we go in 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Ring Post Radio, the only show that attempts to cover wrestling the Sunday morning after 1 billion matches take place. So filled with insanity, filled with laugh, filled with love, filled with Linsanity. I'm your host, Ryan Einstein. With me, as always, is the man, the myth, the legend, Scotty Edwards. Scotty, how are you doing on this fine Sunday morn?
I'm tired, but I'm here. Yeah, there's a lot, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, there is. There was like I said, a bajillion wrestling matches that took place last night. I mean, you had obviously AEW had 3 hours. You had Triple Mania. You had freaking G1 Climax in the morning. You had One Night Dream Noah in the morning. You had Slammiversary. I was forgetting there. You had a bunch of other indies.
I was out touching grass like the entire day yesterday too. So
I think that's good. I don't want to say
but the problem is I had to come home and watch it on like 0.5 seconds. It was tough.
When there are events happening concurrently, let's say there are events that you both want to watch or whatever. Do you watch them? Are you a dual screen guy, or are you like on one screen only?
Got to be one screen. Otherwise, I can't give you a single opinion on a match because I'm focusing on two different things. I'll have like one over here if I want to like see what's coming up, but I won't watch it heavily, if that makes sense.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I get you. I tend to be a one person, but there are moments where I'll dual screen if it's like for example, if it's like a WWE PLE, I will dual screen matches. I'll watch.
Yeah, well, that's because they have 75-hour commercials in between them.
Exactly. Like I'll dual screen for like a WWE PLE, or more specifically, like I'll watch like an event that like I'll watch like G1 matches during a WWE PLE. Because they're like you said,
this year that really works.
Yeah,
their matches so quick.
The matches are shorter. The PLEs the commercials. I timed it out one time. It tends to take almost 10 minutes, so you can watch a wrestling match in between all their commercials. It is totally possible, folks.
It's tough.
But yeah, that's my tendency. But yeah, we are here for Ring Post Radio. We have a big time show, like I said. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, as much wrestling as you and I kind of split between and to talk about. I know you watched most of everything. I caught up as much as possible. I think I'm going to get the bigger points across today. But we're going to talk about Impact SLAMMIVERSARY. We're going to talk about G1 Climax Night 1. We're going to talk about the 5-star Grand Prix for Stardom coming up this next week, actually. We're going to talk about the highlights from Noah One Night Dream, which sounds like the highlights might be one match, and the highlights of Triple Mania. I watched the semi-main, the main event there. At the very least, the main event being Omega versus Vikingo 2. And of course, we got some news to kick us off. So I think, without further ado, Scotty, let us get to said news. And that said news begins with AEW. There was a report via Fightful Select, that they are AEW and Warner Media Discovery, their TV hosting network, are obviously in the works, proposals or whatnot, of very likely or huge money increase for AEW, obviously. But part of that is, as Fightful Select says, is that according to one of their WBD sources, one of the major proposals from Warner Brothers Discovery involves the, quote, very likely possibility of significantly extending the AEW pay-per-view schedule. In fact, the company may be looking to hold pay-per-view events as often as once per month, similar to the scheduling of WWE's premium live events. Sources indicate that's something Warner Brothers Discovery wants to happen. So that's a lot of money up for grabs. Going once a month is a lot more money into the bank of AEW, but that comes with its own drawbacks, and that comes with its own shortening of stories and whatnot. That's my quick thoughts. But Scotty, give us your thoughts on the very likely possibility, that's the quote, of AEW expanding its pay-per-view schedule via Warner Brothers Discovery's seemingly request.
I think most people overreact to these things. Um, yes, some of the stories have to get or quicker or put a little more pep in their step, or you have to, do a little bit more with them with pay-per-views. But we are also talking about a company that, for a lot of their matches, doesn't build half their pay-per-view matches until 2 weeks before. So, that case, it almost doesn't matter in some aspects. That being said, th we had this discussion, I think, a few months ago where I said there is a perfect middle ground for AEW and their pay-per-views and their amount of pay-per-views per year, because I thought where they were before All In was announced was too little, but I also said that 12 is too much because, one a month just it's a lot. It works for WWE because we've just been so accustomed to that and their model. They've, that their Raw and SmackDown shows are commercials for the pay-per-views. And they do a really good job at, if you don't watch Raw and SmackDown, here's the story, here's the videos, right? Um, but at the end of the day, that the main point is AEW is going to make money from it, and a lot more money from it. And if it came down to, all right, we're going to give you this, guaranteed money, and that's it. You don't have to worry about pay-per-view buys or anything, and you come on to Max or whatever eventually. I know the story was that Max isn't ready for that yet, but eventually, then I don't know how you're AEW and say no, right? Like, I think there's a perfect world where you're running 6 to 8 pay-per-views, and because you could easily make Blood and Guts a pay-per-view. I'm sorry, I don't need Blood and Guts on a TV show, I could get over it, right? Like,
Yeah.
there's ways to easily make it happen without ruining a lot. They put so many title matches on TV, like, I don't think people understand how easy it would be for them to do this, and I understand you're like, "Oh, but that make the TV worse." It would. It absolutely would. But I'm thinking in their mindset, if they're gonna make more money, yeah, you do this. This is what you do. Um, and it's easier that way. But also we have to take into account that they have a show on Saturdays now. And they don't want to run against the NFL like 4 months out of the week. That or 4 months out of the year. I mean, I don't see them wanting to do that either. So there's going to be a lot of conversations, I'm sure. I'm sure if Tony Khan can work it, he'd go for just a little less, but definitely more, because I do think more is good. I think, and more spread out, mind you.
Mhm.
I don't need all in and all out back to back weeks ever again. The shows haven't even happened yet. I'm telling you, we don't need that ever again. Um, because I think that's going to be a headache all around, because we're what? Just a month out from all out. We're a month and a week. All
Yes.
in. Whatever. You get the point.
The same thing.
We're just
There's week back to back
same
weeks.
thing, same week. We're just a month out. How I cannot, I know what matches we're building to, but I don't know for what show.
Mhm.
I don't know which way we're going. Like, that's like the glaring problem with that. And if you end up going to a different schedule, and I understand that they love to do the holiday weekends and stuff, I get that. You can keep those dates and then you can make other dates, because it's easy to work around. You have the shows, you have the names, you have everything already. You wanna make Fighter Fest a pay-per-view? Go nuts. You wanna make Fight for the Fallen a pay-per-view? Go nuts. Those aren't even being used this year.
No.
Road Rager, like, you wanna use all those? There you go. You can do that in seconds. And like I said, Blood and Guts feels like a obvious pay-per-view type match, because I promise you, people would be paying for this week's Blood and Guts
Yeah.
if it was on pay-per-view.
I would add Grand Slam into that
Grand
as a
Slam, that would make
possible.
a lot of sense.
And I think Winter is Coming. You could also. I think it has the lineage that you could also make it a
Yeah.
pay per view. But
Yeah,
also
I
that's close.
absolutely
That's
agree, and
close.
then
That's
there,
closer
you're
in
done.
Full Gear. So you have to figure that out. But
Yeah.
yes, those three immediately.
Speaking of which, All In, All Out, and Grand Slam need to be, not in a month span, but that's a different conversation for a different day. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I didn't really like Grand Slam being so close to All Out anyways. Now it's ugh. But I think the there's a perfect medium here. Going to the same thing as WWE is a lot, but it's not impossible, it's not difficult. Does it probably ruin weekly television? It's definitely not to the levels that we're at now. I think it definitely takes a hit. But if you can make more money, it's hard to say no.
Yeah. I think the television part is an interesting thing because it definitely forces stories. I mean, immediately you would think it forces stories to be shortened. It forces stories to move along faster so that you can have that. It's either forces stories to be shorter so that you can have bigger, faster matches happening. I guess, building up the fast matches faster. I guess, or conversely, you have pay per views that are less than. You have pay per views that's like
Right.
pay per views where you would have like a Ricky Starks versus MJF as the world title match instead of whatever that. I think that was Winter is Coming.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, that's the type of stuff you got to do.
yeah, I mean that's the question. Yeah, it's either you move a lot of those TV stuff up to, pay per view status. Which do we think those kind of matches are pay per view status? Depends on the
No.
rest of the card, I guess. But
Yeah.
it's a tough spot. I mean, it definitely feels like it's going for the bag. It's interesting that Warner Brothers Discovery is making that move, is making that push. I'm going to guess that they get some sort of like kickback with using it on the Bleacher Report, whatever the pay per view thing is. By they get some sort of Bleacher Report kickback thing. That would be my guess, just because they're the hosting service for these pay per views. Um, so I could see Warner Brothers Discovery wanting more things. Plus, Warner Brothers Discovery is actively against the writer strike and the actor strikes. So they need more content. They can do this. They can put all that money towards AEW, and AEW will happily accept it. As they get on the road to $1 billion.
Yeah, well, there you could also make the Owen a one night event.
That's true. Oh, one night.
Do,
Oh, that would be fun. Like a old school King of the Ring. Yes.
yeah, like that would be fine. And there are ways to still make it work. You don't have to have the AEW World Heavyweight Title defended every pay per view if you were to go monthly. Um, Especially with someone like MJF as champion, that's kind of part of his story. As long as you don't make up a fake rule where a champion has to defend every month, then you're all set. Shout out WWE and just completely abandoning that, which I appreciate, mind you. It's better that they abandon it because it makes things feel more special. But like I think WWE, despite my gripes with some of it, they have figured out like the perfect way to do a monthly pay per view. Like some of them just aren't going to be as special, and those ones are the ones without Roman Reigns.
Sure.
The one with world title matches are going to feel a little bit more special. But if you use all these gimmicks and stuff that you have for TV, it can work. You turn the Owen into a one night show and you have qualifying matches instead leading up to it, which you had last year.
Mm-hmm.
There's simple ways around this. I don't want the monthly pay-per-views, but I also want to sit here and not act like it would be the worst thing to ever happen. That makes sense.
No, it's big for it's big for AEW to be able to do that. I mean, just thinking of the money alone. I mean, but do we? I mean, I guess the question is like, do we commend AEW? I don't necessarily think. I think my thought on the whole.
It'd have to be streaming.
Yeah, I think my whole thing is that if you're going to be able to do this, I would like for this to be tied into the streaming of AEW moving to Max. That would be
Yeah,
ideal for me. Just because you're talking way more money. The reason WWE was able to make way more money by having pay per views that were at the same price, obviously
yeah,
pre network. But now we live in an age where it's like now we're talking $60, $50 or whatever for an AEW pay per view every single month. That's obviously way more money, but we also live in an age where most people have been living with the four pay per views. Most people have been living with WWE network Peacock streaming deals where they don't
right.
have to pay for pay per views for the past decade or whatever. Um, it's a new world. It's going to be tougher, I think, to convince people, and already an audience that is kind of topped out for AEW, convince more people to sign up for more pay per views. And you don't want to do the deal of like cheaper dollar, not cheaper as in dollar amount pay per views, because that historically doesn't work in wrestling. Because
Yeah,
it tells your audience that these are less than WWE. Like you said, WWE does that WWE does that in a good way. Where they do that with like Roman and he's not there, making him feel special, but they will also supplement Roman not being there with Bad Bunny, right? They're like, oh,
right.
Roman can't be there,
Real
so
weird sentence.
we'll get the biggest pop artist in the world
Yeah,
in his hometown of Puerto Rico.
yeah.
So they have a good way of supplementing that sort of thing. Yeah, there's also the aspect of like, what if they did pay per views like Raw and SmackDown used to do, like in terms of split pay per views? What if
Yeah, no thanks.
six of the pay per views of the year were Dynamite, six of the pay per views of the year were Collision? So you got these Punk specific pay per views, as it were, if we're saying Collision's the Punk show. You have you know what I mean. Like they have these sort of Collision specific pay per views 6 times out of the year versus Dynamite having or whatever. You know what I mean? Like instead, it's just that way you can separate out a little bit, and that way some of these people are only wrestling big time matches 6 times of the year instead of 12.
The the best, I think the best schedule for pay-per-view special events that AEW could follow is more something like Impact's,
Mm.
truthfully.
Hmm.
Never thought I'd say that, but, like, Impact, their scheduling does really well because they have the 4 or 5 major pay-per-views per year,
Hmm.
and then they have 5 special events, right? 5 specials
Hmm.
on their network. If that's the deal you come to, have 5 pay-per-views still, and then here's, 5 specials on Max
Yeah.
or something,
Yeah.
then that makes sense to me. And I think that's maybe best case scenario, and maybe that's what they're going for. Because they said monthly pay-per-views. I don't think that actually, like, I think we just all use pay-per-views as a term, truthfully, like for special shows. Um, and I think that would be the best case. Like, again, Fight for the Fallen and Fighter Fest were originally on Bleacher Report
Yeah. They were
long ago.
originally, obviously, this was before the TV deal, but they were originally, and there was another one, I think. Or maybe there wasn't. Maybe I'm thinking of something else. They were originally on Bleacher Report, and then they obviously got off. So they
Yeah.
had something. They had some these smaller shows were on.
I almost think that would be the best scenario.
I would be okay with that, of doing like
Because
sort of. And that also makes more sense of like Warner
yeah,
Brothers Discovery. It's like, oh, let's have it on Max.
right,
And test
right.
this thing out before we move.
Eh,
Before maybe eventually moving the rest of the pay per views to Max. If
yeah,
they,
because I wouldn't. It depends on the deal that Warner gives you in the end, like to
yeah.
do that scenario compared to everything on something like. Just take the money at the end of the day because that means better for the wrestlers in the end.
Yeah, I'm because it's also like if you don't want to cannibalize your entire pay-per-view market
No,
unless Warner Media is willing to give you the bag that would cover your
right,
pay-per-view what you've been making on pay-per-views plus more, right?
right.
So that would be if you just do the impact strategy like you talked about, you can keep your pay per view market and keep all that stuff, and then get additional money via Max. That would be an interesting idea.
Yeah.
Because also it's like you could, that's not a bad idea. I like that. I weirdly also like the impact strategy instead.
I've
Uh,
always liked the impact strategy, to be fair, and
mhm.
I think it it's almost like if it's it's a lot like WWE's strategy at the same time. It's just all their pay-per-views are available on Peacock.
Yeah.
But like if they were to do that, it would really just be okay, you have to pay for WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, SummerSlam, and like Survivor Series, and everything else would be Peacock exclusives, which they could easily do and people would buy it,
Yep.
but no one tell them. I prefer everything for 9.99, but it's a great it works out better because I think it just moves things along well, and
Mhm.
that way you know, probably make more money out of it in the end. Not for Impact, but, for AEW, they would.
I think if AEW does the sort of impact like pay per view and streaming service
Yeah.
combo deal thing, I could fully see WB and Nick Khan going like, "Well, we could do that. We could have
Yeah.
WrestleMania or big shows on pay per view. That's more money for us. We could do that."
I think they're considering that anyways.
Yeah, right now, obviously, like the Peacock idea is like,
It's helps make them overly popular.
yeah, it assists it gets eyes on their products. Whether or not those
Yeah.
eyes stay, it at least gets eyes on the product.
Gets
Um,
more eyes on their product than before.
That's certainly true. Speaking about eyes on a product, or maybe in this case, lack of eyes on a product. Um, not
Well
really a
rested.
not really a preview here, but Ring of Honor: Death Before Dishonor is happening this upcoming Friday. And Scotty, do you know? I have the card in front of me of what's announced. Do you know anything about this show before I even
I
say
know
the
that
card?
one match is official now because of tapings last night.
Technically, apparently, three matches are official, according to Cage Match.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. So okay. So I mean, so the card itself so far on Cage Match is Katsuya Shibata versus Daniel Garcia for the pure title. Samoa Joe versus Dalton Castle for the World TV title. That's, I guess, a tiny spoiler. Athena versus Willow Nightingale for the women's world title.
That makes sense.
And then Claudio Castagnoli, it was going to be versus Mark Briscoe, but he has to get knee surgery. So right now it's nobody. This show is on Friday. And a year after a Ring of Honor being like quietly like one of the greatest promotions of the year, just having basically three shows and that's it, and no
Yeah.
television. A year after, or even a couple months after, this is abysmal, Scotty. Do you there's no
I don't
hype
know
for
what happened.
this. I keep forgetting that this show is happening. You don't have a world title challenger, and now all of a sudden he's injured. Like you just like Mark Briscoe got picked like last week, which I guess is a 2 week build, and that's typical of AEW, but
Well,
still.
here.
You only have three
It,
matches, and you just taped something, so you have to announce a bunch of
right.
random things that may or may
Yeah.
not have
The day
build.
before.
Yeah.
The day before.
Yeah, that show is happening the day before. So you will announce at least probably two of these matches the day before this show. And also, where is this show happening? Is it on Honor Club? Is it on Warner Media? Is it
No,
on
it's on
Bleacher
pay per
Report?
view.
Is it on Bleacher
It's on
Report?
probably it's on pay per
I'm
view.
gonna look this up, but you talk to me about how you feeling about Ring of Honor right
Not good. And of
now.
course, it's one day after Tommy was on there, so yay, yay! I feel like I gotta root for this promotion. What is it? What is it? It's not even a promotion. This brand? Is it a brand? Is that what we're gonna call it from now on? We just call Ring of Honor a brand.
I guess
Um,
so. I don't know.
I rooted for them for a while. I really hoped, I really hoped for Ring of Honor. I did, especially after the last pay per view. Right? It was so good. It was so good. You're like, Claudio and Eddie, we're gonna keep building this. Joe and Mark Briscoe, we're gonna keep building this. I'm looking into the camera. We did not build. We did not build. We did not build at all. Eddie got hurt, and then Eddie went to the G1.
Which is
Mark Briscoe's now
whatever.
hurt. They
Yeah.
didn't even go back to that
Yeah.
story at all. He's just hurt. He's done for the year, reportedly, according to Fightful. Athena and Willow make sense
Yeah.
just based off of the tournament, but you took a whole long time to get there.
Which, to be fair, the plan for that match was a week ago, so they maybe lost a
Yeah,
week of
still
build for
took a
that.
long time to get there.
Of course.
For a title match that includes a champion that wasn't losing ever.
Mhm.
Probably your main event at this point, seeing Claudio doesn't even have a challenger. It's
Kinda
bad. It's just bad. Like Ring of Honor is not Ring of Honor is AEW Dark. That is what it is. That's why Tommy was on there, for example, right? Like when AEW Dark existed and people came over from like other companies, right? Remember the Dragon Gate guys were on there, and
DDT guys were on there.
the DDT guys have been on there. Like that's what Ring of Honor is now. It's just dark.
Yes.
We don't have to act like it's anything else.
With some stories. You know, there are some things happening, but yeah.
It's so well, I mean, if you look at the show from yesterday, no. It's not with some stories.
That's fair.
It's just a show. Like the Kingdom won some 4-way tag. Does that mean they're gonna face the Lucha Bros? I hope so, because I will at least be happy to watch that.
Possible. It's possible that would be the case.
But it's like it's bad. It's really bad. And you're gonna need to make people watch this show.
Yeah.
Like people, you're gonna need to convince people in 1 day's time to buy and watch this show.
And can I be honest, Scotty? I'm on the Ring of Honor website. I don't see any information about where you can watch the show on their website. Now, if I go to BR Live or Bleacher Report itself, I can see that there's a pay-per-view that I can purchase. But there's nothing on the Ring of Honor website saying that I can purchase this. Let me check AEW. Probably it shouldn't even be there, but there's nothing on the Ring of Honor website saying how I can purchase this, where I can watch it. The pictures, the graphics don't have anything.
The Ring of Honor website told me about a match that I had no idea about.
Great. Oh, look. Oh, look at this. Hold on. If I go to the AEW website, oh, look at this. Death Before Dishonor happening July 21st. Can I click on details? Will it tell me the information there? Nope. Doesn't tell me where it's streaming.
Did you say Garcia versus Shibata?
I did.
You did?
Yes. Yeah, that was
a good one.
Yeah, I mean the matches itself. I mean, that should be good. Athena versus Willow. I didn't see what it was on Collision yet.
You know what
Rampage?
You know what Ring of Honor is now?
What's that?
Or what it's going to be for a lot of people?
What's that?
It is going to be the old NXT takeovers, in that you're not going to watch any of the weekly television, but you're going to tune in for the pay-per-view because it's going to have a bunch of awesome matches. That's what Ring of Honor is.
I hope so, but because right now, $40 for Ring of Honor.
When they book Claudio versus Kota Ibushi,
oh.
come back talking to me then.
You legitimately, Scotty, I didn't think about that, but that's plausible.
Yeah, it sure is. He's right there. It's very simple. Like if you're looking for a match to make sense for Claudio out of Blood and Guts, you have 5 people sitting there, and you're not going to do the Young Bucks.
You're not going to do Omega. You're
not going to do Omega. So it's either Hangman or Kota, and you know what? I'd buy either one. Anyone else is a letdown.
Yeah, yeah, that's interesting. Actually, that is not a bad idea. And that would make
I should book Ring of Honor.
If it was Claudio and Kota Ibushi, I would be more inclined to pay $40 for it.
Yeah,
because right now you're talking about a Rampage. Maybe it was the main event. I don't think it was, with Athena and Willow. You have
it was.
Oh God, he froze. Shibata versus Garcia. That should be good, but that's ultimately a rematch. You know, Joe versus Dalton Castle. Well, yeah, because didn't Shibata lose? Oh, Shibata won off for Yuta. That's what I'm thinking of. You have Samoa Joe versus Dalton Castle, which is whatever.
Yeah, couldn't want to watch a match less.
Potentially the Kingdom versus Lucha Brothers, but that's nothing finalized. And then
that'd be good.
I think they're going towards what are they called? Gates of Embassy and Brian Cage.
So they're gonna do what they did last time,
versus
right? And
Daniels, Seidel, and Darius Martin. But yes, go ahead.
they're gonna do what they did last time when they just toss like one or two random awesome matches onto the card and be like, "Here, does it make you feel better?" And I'm gonna be like, "Yeah, yeah, it does. Thanks." Like that's what they're gonna just have to do because otherwise they're screwed. Remember when they just added Vikingo and Commander?
Yeah, that's true.
Worked out pretty well.
That was
That's what they're gonna have to do, but they got to do it quick because I don't think anyone has a clue that the show's even happening, let alone like I don't understand. I know Tony Khan's got a lot going on. I do. He's building towards All In. He's building towards All Out. But holy shit, it takes about 2 seconds to make like just a competent pay-per-view for Ring of Honor. Like you don't even need to book great weekly TV shows, but you just could have put stories into play with Claudio with backstage segments. The Mark Briscoe thing, all right, unfortunate. Would have been a great match. Was pretty looking forward to it. And that worked because Eddie Kingston's like, yeah, you just challenge him. It doesn't work. It didn't make sense to me at all. But I was like, sure.
Even the last pay-per-view for Ring of Honor felt big. I mean, I don't like. I mean,
it was great.
Claudio versus Eddie Kingston, Shibata versus Yuta. That felt big because that was Shibata coming in. The Reach for the Sky ladder match, Vikingo versus Commander was last minute, but that was really solid. Athena versus Yuka Sakazaki. That was a import. That was nice. That was
pretty much last second.
Samoa Joe versus Mark Briscoe.
Yeah, great.
Athena versus Yuka was last second, but it was Yuka Sakazaki coming back in, and there's always the fun with that.
It's kind of funny.
I mean, Supercard of Honor looks like a good show, and it was a good show.
It was a good show.
This new show we're days away from, and there's nothing. There's nothing here on the bone.
They don't have New Japan to save them this time.
Well, yeah, they might have GLEAT. They might have GLEAT helping them out.
Well, no, because this is so last minute. They don't have anyone to save them this time.
What if instead of Daniels, Seidel, and Martin, we throw in Strong Hearts versus the six-man tag titles?
If they get Strong Hearts randomly on this show, then yeah.
Sure. I'm in, baby.
I'm in. I will buy the pay-per-view the moment they announce it. How about them apples?
That's good.
I don't know. You're gonna have to think of something special to just throw on. You know what you should just put on there? You know what you should just say? Fuck it and put it on there. Put Swerve and Keith Lee on there. Just do the goddamn match and move on. I don't give a shit if it doesn't make sense in Ring of Honor, as long as you just do it.
I don't care if it makes sense that it's not it's Ring of Honor. I don't care.
It's never going to be on AEW.
It's never going to be on AEW. I don't care if none of the build has happened on Ring of Honor television. That's fine.
No, because you're not going to put it on All In. You're not going to put it on All Out. You're barely going to put it on Dynamite. You're probably not going to put it on Collision. It might get Rampage. So just put it on the stupid Ring of Honor show that no one cares about. Why is NXT having better build than you? Idiots.
It's rough, dude.
Put Nick Wayne on there. I don't know. Just put something on there to make people interested.
Nick Wayne is a good person to put on Ring of Honor that you can put on right now.
The pre-show, because how many people are going to tune in for Nick Wayne out of the blue, outside of the GCW contingent?
Is there a Ring of Honor roster page yet? Let's see.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Nope. Don't know. Can't tell you who would Nick Wayne
tell you.
Can't tell you who Nick Wayne versus would be interesting because it doesn't exist. Maybe Nick Wayne, Daniel Garcia, a random
Chris Jericho's still on the roster page.
Chris Jericho is still on the roster page.
Chris Jericho, Dax, and what? You know what? Here, you know what? Just put FTR on there. Just have them defend their belts. They have Ring of Honor connection. That's good enough for me.
Do FTR versus Bullet Club Gold 3 out of 5 falls.
This time, guns up, baby.
60-minute Iron Man. That'll eat up a lot of time on your pay-per-view. Chris Jericho hasn't been on Ring of Honor in almost a year.
This sucks.
Yeah, this is rough stuff. Rough stuff indeed. Maybe we do Nick Wayne versus one of the boys. Boy number 1. there's no meat.
totally.
There's no meat on this Ring of Honor bone, and it's so sad that this brand has gotten to this point this quickly. And maybe part of it is because, like, Ring of Honor is not happening on AEW television anymore. They aren't doing this sort of crossover because so many people poo-pooed it, and now guess what we have? Nothing. We got nothing.
Now we
on the
just
show.
have poo.
It's not good. But
tune back in next Sunday for when we review Ring of Honor. That's before Dishonor.
Because we're gonna watch it. For a fact we're gonna watch it.
We're gonna watch it. We're gonna review it. So you're welcome.
Mm-hmm.
But
and it's gonna be.
Maybe I don't need to watch it live.
It's gonna be show of the year. That's gonna be happening. It just randomly show of the year.
They don't have the AEW comfort of it'll still be a great show.
That's true. I mean, they have 3 shows to the name, and the last show was pretty good, but it feels like it's not that.
All their show pay-per-views under Tony Khan have pretty much been great. But guess what? I don't give a shit because this card has 0 build, 0 meaning to it.
I just was thinking, by the way, just real quickly. So right now, like, AEW has 6 pay-per-views already scheduled, right? They have the usual 4, Forbidden Doors 5, All In at 6. If you wanted to add 3 more, you have Blood and Guts, Grand Slam, and Winter's Coming. And if you wanted to add 3 more on top of that, you can add all 3 Ring of Honor pay-per-views. Just saying.
Shit. You might already be there, folks.
Just saying. That would be pretty nice, and maybe that would be helpful for Ring of Honor to have some money and something reasonable. Maybe they can go on television finally. Maybe they can get out of jail
with this show. Nuh-uh.
All right. Well, let's move on. I've had enough of Ring of Honor. We'll talk about, I guess, them more next week.
We will, because I don't know. We'll talk about Blood and Guts next week.
That's definitely true.
Not Blood.
That should be good.
It's the second Blood and Guts. I said Blood and Guts 2, and I was like, it's not the second.
Blood and Guts 3. Blood and Guts 3. The original the original Blood and Guts with the Elite finally in it. Anyways,
without Cody though.
Well, they got Coda. They got Coda. That's close enough.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, let's talk about Impact Slammiversary. They had their big time middle of the year show. Impact did. What do you think of this show? I thought?
Oh, I did not like it.
You did not like it? I thought it was pretty decent.
I thought it was a show of mediocrity.
Oh, okay. We kind of got a split decision here. We'll get into it. I'm just gonna skip the countdown. Did you watch the pre-show? I assume no.
Didn't even know there was one.
Of course, me neither until I found out. Well, I'll tell you this much. I'll just tell you the results because I know you're interested.
There's a new title change? Oh my.
Yes, Kenny King, King King, is now the Impact Digital Media Champion, which means Joe Hendry has lost. I cannot wait to watch this match.
So I had a discussion with a few friends yesterday about this, and I want to hear your thoughts on it. Mm-hmm. So I was thinking of was
it about Joe Hendry?
So I watched the Yota Tsuji match against Kaito Kiyomiya yesterday. Great stuff, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. And they were like how he was mentored by Ultimo Guerrero and CMLL. Mm-hmm. And I said, so that means the mentors for the 4 young guns, including Yu Uemura, are as follows. Shota Umino's is John Moxley.
Uh-huh.
Ren Narita's is Katsuyori Shibata.
Yep.
Yota Tsuji's is Ultimo Guerrero. And Yu Uemura's is Joe Hendry. If that doesn't tell you who's fucked, I don't know what does, buddy. Woo!
Oof. Oof. I just hope that Yu Uemura is getting the Okada treatment where he's just like treated like dirt in Impact.
Yeah. Does he have Young Bucks to save him in the back?
Poof. Motor City Machine Guns? Maybe.
Ooh,
maybe ABC.
Asen. Yeah, maybe that's the best bet.
I
had to make that show on air. I had to make that joke on air because I thought it was very funny to realize.
It is glorious.
Because it's true.
Yeah. Let's talk about Impact Slammiversary. Opening up the show is the Ultimate X match. Kushida ultimately wins the Ultimate X match by defeating Alan Angels, Jonathan Gresham, Kevin Knight, Mike Bailey, and a surprise returning Jake something. So what do you think about the Ultimate X match? I liked it. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, it was fun.
It was
I mean,
a lot of high
eh,
spots.
yeah, I mean, Ultimate X is just like whatever now to me.
It's overplayed.
Yeah, it's not. It's overplayed and like it's hard to make it creative, if that makes sense. It's kind of like the ladder match.
I
It's just
see.
like, all right, cool. They did do a lot of high spots here. The speedball moonsault from
Yeah.
like the top of that was crazy because
Yeah.
he just crashed down to the floor.
Mm-hmm.
Happy to see Jake something back.
Yep.
Jake something leaving and doing nothing was very sad and unfortunate. So I'm very happy that he's back. I think that's a great, return for Impact. This is a good way to start off shows. It's just the one problem is it takes like 15 minutes to take the stuff down after the fact. So it's like, all right. Kushida winning is weird.
Yeah, because what? Well, I don't even know. Was this Cage Match doesn't state it? I guess I have to check their website. But I don't think this Ultimate X match was for anything.
Yeah, it was for the opportunity to like cash in the X or whatever.
Oh, interesting.
Whatever.
Oh, it's that
whenever the X is up there, it's usually for like
for
a title op.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I
Oh,
believe. As a non-impact historian, I believe that is what the Ultimate X means.
oh, because then
Um,
we could do with Kushida winning and the main event return.
no company has ran Kushida versus Leo Rush more than Impact. It's actually incredible. I don't even know how that's possible.
But you could do that match for Multiverse United, and that could be something. But what I was going to
Nope,
say was you
they're
could
both
do
Leo Rush is already booked.
no. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking Kushida versus the returning Josh Alexander, a match that got canceled,
Yeah, you could. Or hear me out.
or maybe a triple threat.
No. Oh, I just don't.
If
I don't know.
I add Alex Shelley to the mix, does that make it better?
I like Alex Shelley. Impact's so weird because like I said I didn't like this show, but like it was fine. I think I don't like this show in terms of like the size of this show. Like Slammiversary, it's to be a huge show.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you need to have huge moments. I don't know if I felt like I had those huge moments. Maybe it's because I'm not as locked in. It was a fine show. It was a fine Impact show. But I walked away from it saying, wow, that would have been a really good like Impact special.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Yeah.
thought it was better than that. I definitely thought it was better than that. But you
Yeah,
know,
that's because you're an Impact maniac.
well, I say that all, but we're gonna get into the
Impact
next.
a maniac.
We're,
Impact. Now Killer Kelly's up, so that all
I was about to
shit.
say let's talk about the next match, which I'm sure to dunk. The next three matches. Here we go. Let's strap in.
You mean the title match that they didn't catch Masha Slamovich hitting the finisher, so no one saw her actually win the match correctly?
You mean the Impact Knockouts Tag Team Title match? Killer Kelly and Masha Slamovich apparently win the match by defeating Kylan King and Taylor.
Well, she
Wilde.
definitely pinned her. I saw that.
I saw the pin. I saw that. That's true. I saw the pin. Yeah. So, I mean, this match, Masha did her best. Kylan King did her best. I think. I think Kylan King and Masha are good.
Oh, I love Masha. I'm happy she's a champion. She should have been Impact Women's World Champion like, I don't know,
months ago
when they first had her on a streak or whatever. So that's the good part about this match. The bad part is I didn't actually watch it. I just watched the end because I just knew it. Yeah.
You fool. I have watched it and it was.
Yeah, because you're a Killer Kelly stan.
No. No, I do not like her as a wrestler. Taylor, she was the worst person in this match for sure. But I don't want to dunk on her too much. I've dunked on her enough in the past. This match was fine. I hate Impacts. I hate this.
Used to say I hate Killer Kelly.
Enough on dunking.
Like, wow, that's like Ryan's never said that about a wrestler. That's crazy.
Enough dunking on Killer Kelly. I hate her. No. What I greatly dislike is Impact's tag team title division because it feels like, I mean, it's so bland.
Every tag team is thrown
It,
together.
yeah,
Even in the men's side.
they're thrown together. Well, yeah, but like it feels like it's like they're thrown together. They win they're thrown together, and then the next match, the first match they have after being thrown together, if not the first match, the second one, they win the tag titles. They do a bunch of defenses on the pre-show, and then they lose the titles on the big show. Like like
Yeah.
that's what the Impact Tag Team Title division has been. I don't know, forever now. I like
So the one credit I will give Impact is that at least they built up like the Masha Kelly team, right? They're like, oh, we
sure.
fought and then we became a team. Sometimes they just throw people together and call it a day.
Yeah, but I always hate those stories because it's like, oh, we have now respect for each other, but now all of a sudden we work perfectly as a team, well enough to win the
Well, I don't
titles.
like them either, but my point is at least it's a story.
I guess
I saw a Sammy Callahan and Rich Swann team on the show, and I was like, what the hell is this?
That's fair.
This doesn't even make any sense outside of you people being an Impact for life. Like what is the point of this? I saw Moose. I don't even know who Moose teamed with.
Brian Myers, if I'm not mistaken.
There you go. All right.
They've been a thing. They've actually been a thing for a bit now.
That's still dumb.
Yeah, I get that. I guess
Moose and Brian Myers.
This match was
Zack Ryder's buddy and Moose.
I mean, MLW's Matt Cardona. This
How
match,
did I know you were going to get an MLW comment on here?
this match was aggressively fine. Masha and Kylan King did their best. Tag team match. Special Enforcer Darren McCarty. Of course, this match was the Scott D'Amore return wrestling match. Steve Macklin was out. PCO was out. So we had Bully Ray come out. We had Diener as his replacement. Kind of maybe tipped their hand, but still kind of out of nowhere because we didn't know. Scott D'Amore comes out, and then I didn't know. I didn't know this
Did
return.
you say the Scott D'Amore return match?
Yeah, he's had matches before, if I'm not mistaken.
But like, he has, but like, the return match for Scott D'Amore? That's our walk away from this match.
He had a match last year, apparently, in Impact, at the Throwback Throwdown 3. So, yeah, this is the return of Scott D'Amore.
Throwback Throwdown 3.
But we also had the return of his Team Canada faction member from back in the day, Eric Young. That's right, he is no longer in WWE after leaving Impact, after dying in Impact.
Also no longer dead.
No longer dead. They kept kind of hinting towards that of like, he thought he killed the evil, but he didn't kill Eric Young. So that was the idea. He is no longer a bad guy. He's now a good guy. He's in Team Canada. Eric Young is no longer in WWE because Vince McMahon came back and he didn't want to work with him. And now he's back in Impact doing his thing. And then this match was like a bunch of, I mean, Scott D'Amore looked fine for who he is and what he is, but this match was fun. I guess the crowd was into it. Bully Ray got his comeuppance and Darren McCarty did some stuff. It was what it was.
Yeah, I didn't watch this. I watched the Eric Young reveal. I was like, all right, cool, great. Eric Young. The Eric Young story. Eric, this is the most Impact shit I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Right? This guy says, all right, I'm gonna go back and sign with WWE. So they say, oh, okay, we'll just kill you. Sure, sounds good. They kill him in a backstage thing. Diener kills Eric Young or whatever.
I guess if you have to kill me, sure.
Yeah. Eric Young heads over to WWE, signs on the dotted line, gets ready. He's eventually going to return in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
Vince McMahon's back. He pretty much says, I don't want to work for that mofo. He leaves. He gets his release, which is always shocking. But to be fair, they never put him on TV, so I don't know why it's that shocking to begin with. He gets his release, so his WWE tenure was Davey Boy Smith-esque Jr. Davey Boy Smith Jr.
At least Davey Boy Smith wrestled a dark match.
Yeah, but he was signed for a lot longer, which makes it worse.
That's true.
And then Impact God bless their hearts, said, "Yeah, we'll bring him right back. He may have wanted to go there over us, but we'll bring him right back." And what did they do? They brought him right back. Now as a babyface from the dead and acted like nothing happened. That is Impact in a nutshell. That's the Impact way.
Impact, baby. That's what they do. I love killing off characters and bringing them back.
I like Eric Young
and not
in Impact.
and not
he
like
should always be there.
Yeah, he's really good in Impact. But I like him not coming back in sort of like a Lucha Underground style, just like, you know, they do a whole resurrection bit. It's like, oh no, he just walks back in. It's like, oh yeah. You kill the evil, but you didn't kill Eric Young, the good, I guess. I guess that's the idea. I don't know if that's what they're selling. Maybe we'll find more about how Eric Young came back to life on this week's episode of Impact Wrestling TV.
Well, it's called Impacts on Access.
Whatever.
Impact on Access.
Whatever. Impact X Division title match.
You should know that. You're the Impact maniac.
I can't be a freakazoid and an impactful.
Oh, or can you? Because you are. You're also a major leaguer. You might be a major leaguer more than the other two combined.
Well, no.
I don't know. You got MLW comment on this week's episode, and they're nowhere to be found. We are talking so many different companies, and they are not here. Yet you brought up MLW.
Well, we didn't talk about MLW last week, so I had to. I had to bring it up.
You still brought it up last week, though.
I did, didn't I?
In the middle of a conversation with our guest.
Impact X Division title match. Lio Rush versus Chris Sabin. I watched this match and then texted you immediately afterwards saying you will hate this. Did you hate this?
I did. This was very upsetting. And don't get me wrong, I love Lio Rush being champion. That's my guy. Lio Rush, a company that's not WWE finally made Lio Rush a champion. The fact that I had to wait since WWE for Lio Rush to be champion again is ridiculous, seeing he has hit now every company since. That being said, I just wanted a great match.
Real quickly, I do want to. I know this is going to be helpful for my.
You say MLW, I'm slapping you in the face. That doesn't count.
Technically, he did leave WWE, and he first went into MLW and became their middleweight champion. By defeating Myron Reed.
Were there fans in the stands?
Well, that technically was during the pandemic, so no.
Yeah, so it doesn't count.
But there were fans in my heart, I guess.
You watched it, and that's all that mattered. I think I did watch that actually because it was Lio Rush. I probably did, but this was the one match on the card that was like, guaranteed banger. And then they said, nah, let's do an injury angle and then just have him squash Chris Sabin.
That was so upsetting. You and I looked at this card.
I was depressed.
You and I looked at the card in this preview and said that this match should be so good. And it felt like the booking was like straight out of like Vince Russo. Like, we got promised something good and it ended up just being nothing. You know how good of a match these guys could have? We didn't have that at all. Granted, I'm sure there is going to be a follow-up match that will be great.
Doesn't make me any happier. I wanted it now. And this is my point, though. It's your second biggest pay-per-view of the year. Yeah. And you did it on here.
Yeah.
Just so you can have the rematch on
Bound for Glory. Bound for Glory, maybe? I don't know. We're waiting that long.
Far, but I guess that would make sense. But I was so angry. And they had Sabin kick out of the final hour. And I was like, all right, now we're going to go. And then he just hit another one. And it was over. And I was like, what the hell is this? Impact. What even when you do something good, you do something wrong. You crown Lio Rush, the man of the hour, my guy, as a champion. Mm-hmm. And what do? You do it in a squash over Chris Sabin. Disgusting. And now you're going to make me watch Kushida versus Lio Rush again.
But not in Multiverse United, because he's in a tag match with Trey Miguel for some reason versus Mike Bailey and Hiromu.
Yeah, I was like, one of these things are not like the others. That's fine. But who would I put in Trey Miguel's spot? Ask me.
Who? Who would you put in Trey Miguel's spot?
Literally, not anyone.
Chris
Like
Saban.
Ace Austin.
That'd be fun. You get the Bullet Club chaos stuff though.
I would have
Maybe
just
that's
put Ace
something.
Austin and Bay versus those two. Truthfully, no offense to Leo Rush, just would have made more sense to me.
Maybe this means we're gonna get Leo Rush. Maybe he defends the title at All Star Junior Festival or whatever.
Well, we know Sonata's going to be at Emergence.
Oh yeah, baby, get ready for that.
I never seen an announcement that made less sense to me than that. I was like, what?
I like he's coming back in the States and AEW is like, no, we're good.
I think it's best for Sonata and AEW to not do anything together.
Yeah, he's got history at Impact, so I guess that works.
Saya Sonata, baby.
Yeah, this waste of my goddamn time. Impact.
Maybe they'll just do Sonata versus Kushida. Maybe they'll use the X on that.
And Kushida wins.
Kushida will finally get his world title match that
Yeah.
he's wanted since before he left for NXT, and it's in Impact.
That's fine.
It feels so right.
That's fine. I prefer that. Impact World Tag Team Title Match Subculture. The team of Flash Morgan Webster and Mark Andrews defeat ABC, Ace Austin and Chris Bay, Rich Swann and Sami Callihan, and Brian Myers and Moose. So we got a nice little title challenge, a bunch of title changes. This is one of 4. What did you think of this title match and Subculture getting the win?
Not gonna lie to you, I didn't actually watch the whole thing.
You told me you watched Slammiversary, and this is like 4 matches in a row where you said I didn't watch it.
So hear me out here.
Why are we previewing this?
We're not previewing it. We're reviewing.
Or whatever.
So I watched most of it, and when I say I didn't watch it all, this is one of the times I actually did do double screen.
And you lied to me. You lied to me.
Well, because there were better things on. There was a lot of wrestling on, and there were better things.
That's fair. This is happening the same time as AEW Collision, right?
Yeah. Well, I didn't watch it live. That was my problem. But I did tune this match on when I was watching Collision at the same time, and I was like, yeah, I'm not watching this show until after. And then the G1 started at 1 a.m. Eastern, and I was like, God damn it. So I got to see Eddie versus Shingo live. That was a good time for me. But yeah, I saw the way they lost. I saw the way that ABC lost, and that's what the Rascals running in. Because I had asked you last week, why are the Rascals not on this show? I have my answer now, because they need to have a non-title feud with ABC.
Mm-hmm. Could have been for the title, but I guess.
Yep.
I guess you can have the title do something else.
Yep. Put them on Subculture, the Rev Pro World Tag Team Champions.
Subculture. I love that match. I love that Rev. We didn't talk about Rev Pro, but I love that match.
You are a Rev. I don't have a
that might be my match of the week.
You're a Revolution Pro.
No, that didn't really work that much. A Revolution Professional, a Rev Professional.
You're just a bruv.
Yeah. No, that's right. That's correct. I thought this match was okay. I thought it was pretty fine. I guess. Subculture, I think, is a good team. ABC are a great team. Swan, like you said, Swan and Callahan are. Why are they here? Moose and Brian Myers, I get why they're here, but I don't like them. I mean, they're fine. Moose is like, oh yeah, I signed a new contract, and it's like, okay, now you're doing nothing, man.
I don't know why that was so funny to me, but
yeah. Brian Myers is whatever. Feels like he looked packed on a couple pounds. I don't know. Yeah, it's fine, I guess. 3 stars. It was good stuff happened, I guess. I don't know.
2 of the teams, if you replace both of those teams with just the Rascals, this match would have been outstanding.
Yes, I would agree with that. Instead, they do a run-in halfway during the match to distract ABC, which that led to the finish. But
again,
still,
like I said, Ryan, not the second biggest pay-per-view of the year.
No. Singles match. Eddie Edwards and we talked about this before we started watching the show, of course. We talked about like it's fun to review Impact because they never really have a show where it's like there's nothing that we can really talk about. There's always either like a pretty good high or there's always like a bunch of lows. There's nothing like there's never an entire card of nothing happened once. There's always
make a shirt
something
that says the Impact Way.
The Impact Way. It's
always something.
There's always something remarkable that happens, whether positive or negative.
God bless Impact.
Singles match, Eddie Edwards versus Frankie Kazarian. I thought this was pretty good. I like this a little bit more than the last match at whatever the last Under Siege or whatever the hell it was. I was okay with the Brooks Alicia. Well, whatever. I didn't really care for it that much, but I think maybe that actually kind of hurt the match for me now that I think about it. But I thought the match was fine. They're two professional wrestlers doing a professional wrestling match, so it was well done. It was well wrestled, but it was there, I guess. What did you think?
So long.
Yes, that was going to be my other complaint about it. Was 17 minutes and 43 seconds long. This match would have been better if it ended at least 3 minutes, maybe 5 minutes earlier.
It was the longest match of the show.
Correct.
Why? Why did you pick the one with the two old guys?
Well, one of the matches had to have all the time that Leo Rush and Chris Sabin were going to get, and so
that's disgusting. I just don't even say that. Don't
even
say that.
No.
Yeah, this was really long, and in the year of 2023, it takes a lot for me to get interested in an Eddie Edwards match. It takes a lot for me to get interested in a Frankie Kazarian match. So the fact that they had a match together and it was 17 and a half minutes long.
A grudge match, no less.
Yeah, I felt no grudges.
It was a grudge match of technical wrestling proportions.
If it was a grunge match, it would have probably been better.
Yeah, now we're talking heavy metal, baby.
I don't even know how that would work. What would a grunge match be?
Well, of course, everyone's wearing jeans. That's standard. And flannels.
John Moxley from when he was Dean Ambrose is all set.
Well, it's jeans, but then they have flannels tied around their waist. And taped fists or something. Maybe it's like a taped fist match, but it's grunge and it's like a mosh pit.
Taped fist match.
Yeah. I don't know.
You can move on.
Yeah, I mean, this match should have been shorter. It's just technical wrestling, and 17 minutes is too much for them. They're not the best in the world. Impact Knockouts world title match. Trinity defeats Deonna Purrazzo. That's the end of her reign. Trinity gets the win. What a shock. This felt like a very obvious outcome, as we both said sarcastically. But did you think this match lived up to the expectations that it had? I don't know. What do you think of this match?
It lived up to my expectations.
Which were?
Expectations were like, yeah, it'll be good.
Yeah, that's fair.
Here's the thing. I think Deanna's like an excellent in-ring wrestler, obviously, right? I praised her matches with Jordan Grace earlier this year, and I think Trinity's a fine wrestler. Like she's been good. She's been good in Impact. I'll give her that credit. But I don't think she's this workhorse, work rate wrestler.
No,
right? That her friend is, right? So it was good. It was a good way to crown her, I thought. Even though the finish kind of came out of nowhere because it felt like the announcers had no idea that submission was her finish.
Yeah.
They're like, oh! I was like, no, that's the one she did at WWE. I like the spot of the pile driver on the apron. That was a good, fake out almost. Give Trinity a big kick out.
That worked.
Frankly, Deonna should be on her way out. Her contract expires at the end of the year. She's done everything there's to do and more in Impact. She's saved them multiple times. Problem is, where do I send her? Don't really know. So
MLW, baby. MLW, here we go. Featherweight division. Dream match. Delmi Exo.
No. Like in a perfect world, AEW would really care about their women's division, and she would be like an instant major addition for it. And she still would be a major addition for it. But
what would Deonna add to AEW women's division? I think it would add
a competent character and pro wrestler
That's true.
which they don't have a lot of in that
I
division.
was gonna say a competent wrestler that knows how to wrestle, but she's not a star at the end of the day, right? I don't think she's
But they're not signing any stars. There's no
that's fair.
stars.
That's fair. If I had to, but then here's the other thing. You also have Jordan Grace out there, and if I was AEW and I had to pick one, I would pick Jordan Grace. If I pick
I would
both,
just take both.
yeah, I was like, if you take both, sure. I'm afraid you'll make some sort of Impact Wrestling stable with Taya Valkyrie, Deanna, and Jordan Grace.
Well, there's my point. If you're willing to sign Taya Valkyrie, I don't care if she's won 1 million titles, then you could sign anyone because Taya Valkyrie, no offense to her, she's not that good.
She's awful.
I'm trying to be nice.
I'm not.
She's had like 3, and here's the thing: they've given her 3 or 2 title matches, 3 title matches in the past 2 months. She's lost them all, but they've given them to her. So this is my point: if you have someone like Deanna, who's going to go out there with like Chris Statlander and have a really good TV match,
that's true,
or even a pay-per-view match, like that would be a lot better than half of what they're giving you.
Or you can have, if you want, Deanna on a Ring of Honor. You know, you can have her hide her away in a Ring of Honor. That's something that can add to that division.
She could be your next Athena.
Yeah,
I'm sure Willow probably wins the title.
But she is a former Ring of Honor World Women's Champion, so you never know.
Here's the thing. AEW has hidden their best women's wrestler in Ring of Honor for months. That's part of their problem. Now I'm now rooting for Athena to no longer be a champion so that she can go and like wrestle on the AEW brand.
Yeah.
And I think that's just a kind of a sign of that women's division as a whole. Yeah. Right? Claudio's been world champion forever, yet he's never missed a week of television. Right? So there's a weird thing going on. And I think if you were to add Deanna, add Jordan Grace, that really bolsters your lineup so that you don't have to just trot out people that aren't TV ready, frankly. Or are bad. But there's also bad. We'll not name names.
Yeah. Well, Taya Valkyrie.
You're the snippy one today.
Yeah. Trinity.
This Impact stuff is killing you.
Trinity getting the title match is fine. Do I expect this to be a great title?
Not title match.
Yeah.
Title.
Thank you.
Mercedes Moné walked in.
Multiverse United 2 around the corner. It's plausible.
If she wants to wrestle in the rinky-dink ECW arena, then sure.
Hey, history or whatever. I'm sure she likes history. She can take a picture in front of in the men's bathroom.
Ew.
That's where the sign is, if I'm not mistaken. That ECW sign. It's in the men's bathroom.
I think you're right.
Yeah, so she would do that. You know, for a fact that would happen. Her and Trinity.
You know. You know where you can do it? Not there. I don't know.
Historic crossover? Historic crossover? You sure, Scotty? I broke him.
I don't even know if that's a show. And you're putting an Impact World title match on it.
Yeah, baby. What a crossover. Impact World title match. Let's talk about the main event. Alex Shelley versus Nick Aldis. I'm sure this is also plays into part of like why you didn't like the show too much, because I know you don't like Nick Aldis.
It was a very professional wrestling match.
Yeah. Agreed.
And I mean that respectfully, by the way.
Yeah.
It was good. It was fine. Like
there's no bells and whistles with this team.
It was an odd way to book it though, because like I was watching, I was like, why does Alex Shelley feel like he's wrestling like a heel? Right? Because he was like putting his fingers in the turnbuckle and pulling him back. I was like, he's doing his heel stick on the indies as a baby face. What has happened?
Especially against an already known heel, Nick Aldis.
Yes. Nick Aldis is the type of guy where if WWE could drop a wrestler in the 1990s, it would be Nick Aldis.
I'll even say if WWE had the ability to hire people right now, Nick Aldis would be a guy they would hire. But
I
alas,
doubt it because they still haven't hired him.
no. Well, the thought is that there's a hiring freeze, that so they couldn't hire him.
but
Same thing
he's
with
been
Jay
available
White.
how many times?
That's true. Do you?
They never wanted him.
They could have easily scooped him out of NWA at any
And
point.
now he's like 40.
Yeah, how old is Nick Aldis?
Now, you know what might work out for him, even though
Nick Aldis is 36.
Yeah, so
He's in the prime of his wrestling career.
what might work for him is that LA Knight got over.
That's true. Grayson Waller is getting over. Grayson Waller's surprisingly up there.
Yeah, and I think Grayson Waller stinks. So how about that?
Wow.
Glorified Miz is nothing for me.
Oh my God.
Hey, it's better than Austin Theory. Austin Theory's just glorified creator wrestler. So
That's fair. This match was, I think it was pretty good, fine, whatever. And then
I was happy with the win. I was shocked
with the win for sure.
Shell shocked.
Oh my God. And then of course you had after the match, Josh Alexander comes out and faces to face with Alex Shelley. So it looks like,
which was wicked funny, by the way.
It looks like that heel isms of Alex Shelley is probably playing into the upcoming feud with Josh Alexander,
which I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted heel Alex Shelley as world champion. I think that's interesting.
So I would guess maybe, if we do...
Just hold it for Bound for Glory.
Well, I would think you could do Emergence. Well, what's next? Actually, technically, Multiverse United 2 is next. Not Emergence.
I'm not going to do it there.
Yeah. Emergence, plausible? No, it's in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. It's happening in Emergence. It's happening in Canada. All right, it's happening in Emergence. That's easy. Yeah, because then Victory Road is September 8th. They'll have a world title match probably on Impact 1000, just because it's 1,000 episodes, and then Bound for Glory is in Chicago in October. It's not going to happen there. It's probably
CM Punk, baby.
So yeah, it's probably going to happen at Emergence in Canada.
So you just do a rematch there, or they'll do this Alexander like they wanted.
Yeah, that's plausible. That's certainly plausible. Because then you could just do Kushida versus Josh Alexander at Multiverse United 2. You could just do that as like a match, as a tune-up match for Josh Alexander. He gets the win, goes into Emergence, wins the title, down the line, does some defenses, and then I don't know, loses it to Nick Aldis at Bound for Glory or whatever. I don't know. If I get that right, play this audio back.
And if he doesn't, forget it ever happened.
If it doesn't, I don't know what you're talking about. That is AI technology. That is you are stealing my voice.
Our entire podcast is actually AI.
Yes, this is all AI. This is written by robots, said by robots for
we are the
only
future
robots.
of Hollywood.
If David Zaslav was running Hollywood, yeah, that's for sure. G1 Climax. Let's talk about some good wrestling. New Japan. Well, I mean, Impact. I'll be mean. I won't be mean. New Japan.
Let's talk about some good wrestling.
Impact had good wrestling. I'll be. That's too mean.
Dunkage. Nah, you were right.
There was some solid wrestling on there.
There was enough wrestling on there where I walked away and said, "Wow, I didn't need to watch this."
I would say watch half of it.
It was like generic.
I would recommend the main event just because it's the world title match. It was pretty good. The Ultimate X match, and I mean, if you want to do Kazarian Eddie Edwards, but it's too long.
No, don't watch that. I thought that stunk.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much maybe where I would land. New Japan. Let's talk about New Japan. G1 Climax Night 1. Obviously, Night 2 also happened this morning at the day we are recording this, but we have not watched it. That's fine.
One match.
Oh, you watched one match? You can talk about that, I guess, in a moment. But let's talk about Night 1 first. We'll go match by match real quickly. Block B, Block A were the blocks happening on this first night. The opening match here was Yoshihashi defeating El Phantasmo. I feel like it's an upset, but it's not really at this point. Yoshihashi is not really an upset, guy anymore. But I was fully expecting El Phantasmo to get the win here, and he did not. I think he might get sort of the late. Maybe he's going to get the late run in the G1 Climax. I don't know, but who knows? What did you think of this match?
Fine opener. You know
Not
I'm
a
not a big
blowaway opener.
No, not at all. You know I'm not a big El Phantasmo guy either.
Hmm.
Um, I expected more.
Me too.
I definitely expected a little more. It felt very bland.
Yes.
That makes sense.
No,
I think
100%.
Yoshihashi is usually really good at like working these types of matches, but had no flavor to it.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. I got distracted because I was at just looking at YouTube real quickly just to make sure our stream is everything okay. And I saw that NWA has a new video or whatever, a group called DLZ, which is basically a TMZ ripoff, which is what QTV is. And I'm
I
just
don't even know how
frustrated.
bad that is.
I'm just like, so this is a knockoff of QTV? God, NWA. Yeah, I agree with the same sentiments. I think I was expecting more, maybe, and it was kind of a flat opening. It was fine. I gave it like, I think I gave it 3, maybe 2 and 3/4. It was fine, but
Billy Corgan watching AEW, and the only thing he takes away from it is QTV is a very funny world to live in. Sorry.
QTV is like the top heel in NWA. It has to be. It has to
He
be.
might as well would be main eventing.
Yeah, 100%. That's what I would do if I want. If you ever
Triple H
did,
pretty much did.
if Tony Khan had any interest in any NWA guy, it would be I don't know who he would want to take. Maybe Mims. I don't know. But he would send over QTV 100%. That's who he would send over.
Who
It would
he'd want to
work.
take from NWA? No one.
I'll take Thrillbilly Silas. That's who I would take. Like
You can
legitimate.
keep naming these people, and I'm not going to believe they're real.
He's the guy that I gave the huge raving match when he had a match against Jericho Kratos.
Oh yeah.
He's actually really good. I actually
What
think
is
he's
this
got something there.
company?
I know.
Bro,
Uh,
Billy Cyrus? Billy Cyrus? Is that what
Billy,
you said?
Thrill.
Don't break your heart, my achy breaky heart. I wanna move on.
Chase Owens versus Gabe Kidd. Chase Owens got in the win
You
here.
know I didn't watch it.
So yeah, so this match was mostly like Gabe Kidd
I saw the
brawling.
ending and I laughed.
Yeah, this match was mostly Gabe Kidd brawling around the arena, beating up Chase Owens, doing a cool flip. And then Chase Owens ultimately gets the win in 2 minutes and 55 seconds when the match finally begins. But you know, hey, look, it gave off the Gabe Kidd give no fucks character that he is going
And
for.
then he lost.
And then he lost. So whatever, I guess.
I had multiple people message me after the G1 preview and say like, "Wow, you did good at not absolutely tearing Chase Owens a new one." I was like, "It was tough.
It was
I'm not
tough.
gonna lie,
I
it
would.
was tough."
I mean, and it still eked out. It still eked out.
It
at
did
moments.
immediately.
Yeah.
Actually,
Uh-huh.
immediately. I was like,
Mhm.
I don't like him.
We
He
reined it
sucks.
in. We reined it in, and then now
But
it's
yeah, I was trying to be respectful. Now it's over.
yeah. Now it's over.
I'm never gonna watch Chase Owens match. So
You're not gonna watch Chase Owens versus Kaito Kiyomiya.
it's,
I mean, I'm gonna watch that, of course, because I'm an insane
What are-
person, but just
what are they
because
doing
that
to my
seems
guy?
fun. That just seems fun. Just that idea. All right.
If
Next.
Kiyomiya loses, I will riot.
Tangaloa versus Kenta. What do you think about Tangaloa's return match?
I watched like half of this because I could not get myself to watch the full thing.
12 minutes and
Couldn't do it.
46 seconds.
I saw how long it was. I kept skipping and kept skipping. I was like, "Oh my god, it's still going! It's still going." Tingalo hit like a spear. I was gonna be mean, but it was a spear. And then he has the great finisher though that I can't think of the name of. The Fire Thunder Driver. Is that what it is?
I don't know.
He drops Kent on his head. That was cool.
The ape shit?
Yeah, he calls it the ape shit. That's right. But yeah, it was yeah.
Not the best match on the show.
No, no.
I'll take the Gabe Kidd Chase Owen schmaz over the Tangaloa Kenta nonsense.
Yeah, because it wasn't so long.
Yeah, this match, I don't think that was that good.
I like the 20 minutes, by the way.
We'll get to the 20 minutes. We'll get to the.
It feels very intense for my heart because, like, every time we get like to 15, I'm like, oh god. Oh
Oh, you
God.
mean the concept? I thought you meant the time limit draw. You mean like the concept of
Oh, I
the
mean, I'm gonna praise the time limit draw because I'm
yeah.
a shooter maniac,
Oh,
baby.
yeah. We all know that. Yeah, but you mean more of like the concept of like the fact that it's
Yeah,
shorter. Okay. Yeah, yeah. I get what you're saying.
I think it's exciting.
Mhm. I can agree with that. It adds another dimension to it instead of just like,
It
okay, we
does.
have another 15 minutes. It's like, oh, we have 5.
It'll make those later matches, like when they go back to 30 and no time limit, a little bit more important, special.
That's true. Let's move.
It's easier to watch.
Let's quickly move on to the next match. Ren Narita versus Shoma Umino. This was a time limit draw. Scotty, I will give you the floor because I know this was probably your favorite match of the night. Uh,
It was one of my two.
there we go. We'll talk about the other one shortly. But what do
The
you
other one's
think?
very easy to catch.
Yeah, of course, Sonata Hikaleo.
Nah,
What?
I was busy getting Gene blasted. Anyway,
Let's talk about the Ren Narita Shota Umino match.
they're just so good. Like Ren Narita is a guy that needs a tournament more than anyone to prove like he's a guy, right? Because I remember when he was coming or getting ready, and everyone's like, "Is he gonna be a junior? Is he gonna be a heavyweight?" They went with heavyweight. They gave him the heavyweight reigns, and he won the trios belt quick. Then he just kind of faded, right? And faded and faded and faded. Meanwhile, Shooter over here, obviously, he's been busy. He's been busy doing a lot. Brings in Blackpool Combat Club, part of that great match. Has the really good stuff with Zack Sabre Jr., New Japan Cup plus the title match. Um, he's been obviously busy and they're telling a story, but Ren Narita needs this. I think all of them need it, obviously, right? To establish who they are, and I think we're off to a good start. Um, but these two getting to go head to head with the story that they've built up, right? With the Three Musketeers thing and the whole, yeah, none of us like this. You felt that. And I was like, if this is what this feud is creating from here on out, New Japan is the smartest freaking company out there today because instantly you had a reason to care about two brand new guys, right? If you're coming into this as a new G1 or not a new fan, but a New Japan fan who doesn't care about anything besides the G1, you instantly knew that these two hated each other and that they were going to beat the snot out of each other till the very end. And I love the draw. I like not having one of them win instantly. And now it sets up kind of the rest of the way when they fight Suji. Is it going to be a draw or one of them going to win or, one of the three going to win? I'm very excited about where this is going. Shota still needs a new finisher. That's fine. But we didn't even get to the finisher. We did everything else. They really went at it for 20 minutes, and I'm happy they got a chance to show this. Should have been later on the card, truthfully, but it actually worked out because they weren't. They had the chance to, after two bad matches, get the air back up.
Yeah,
in a lot of ways.
and I think the surprise of the time limit draw
Yeah, it felt like a
played up
desperate
more.
draw too.
Yes, which was very nice.
Which
I think
liked.
I thought this was a really, really good match. I like Ren Narita, I like Shota. Um, it's the Shota thing of the lack of originality that is so frustrating when I'm watching Shota. In the sense of like he's pulling from so many people. I mean, we added Chono to the arsenal, right, with that STF.
Yeah.
So he's just an amalgamation of a bunch of people, and I don't know who Shota Umno is. And yeah, Ren Narita is just a clone of Shibata, I guess, but he feels more original than anything else. Than Shota Umno is. Yeah, I like this match. I wish it wasn't as much played up as like an epic as it feels like it was. Now, it's a going to be a historical match that we can look back on as like a match that like, this is what to look forward to or this is what we have to look at from years from now or whatever. But that being said, I feel like I wish it wasn't like laid out as epically as it was. We talked about it at one point that like remember these guys were young lions during the Omega Okada years, right? So these guys, watched the epic of those things. So they understand it, I guess. But I just was like, I don't know if the epic is necessarily earned, but to that same point, it may not be earned for me, but at the same time, it's going to be historic. It's looking back on, and like you said, which I think is greatly pointed out on, which played into the epic story, was they both are fighting to be the best. They are fighting because they know they are now lumped in together, so they want to prove that they are better than the other person. And what's interesting is that they weren't able to prove that, and now we have more time to figure that out. And when will they be able to prove that? Who the heck knows? That's what's going to make the feud exciting. And that is what I'm looking for. And that's what I like the most coming out of this is that they both went in there wanting to prove who was better than the other guy, and neither of them were able to. Now they both have to face Yoda Suji, which is going to be an interesting one also. So we'll see how all of that plays out moving forward.
Ren Narita needs to do a lot for me to ever believe him as a serious contender.
Yeah, he
Uh,
remember he came originally in like he was in the junior division, and now he's like in this heavyweight
yeah,
G1 Climax. I don't see Ren Narita as a world heavyweight champion.
no, never, never open weights like his ceiling for me right now.
If
And
Zack
that's
Saber Jr. can't be a world heavyweight champion, is like one of the best technical wrestlers.
right,
How can Ren Narita do it? If Shibata was
right.
never world heavyweight
Like,
champion,
I know a lot of people still like, including yourself, have the problems with Shota and like he needs this fully. But I think everyone sees him holding that world title like easy to
yeah,
see. Like
yeah,
looking down the line, you're like, yeah, he'll have that belt. There's no part of me that sees Red Narita holding that belt.
yes, same
And
way.
so the beauty of these two is that they're 3 years or more younger than Suji. So
Hmm.
it's like they have time.
Hmm.
Narita is the youngest, so he has plenty of time. It's just I don't know if he ever gets there.
Sh-
Something would have to change overnight, I think.
a lot of people see Shota Umino as like Tanahashi. You know, I see Shota Umino as like early Naito, and
Which is funny because that's clearly what they're going with for Yota Tsuji. Um,
but I
like just the way they not necessarily the story, and I think I know where you're going from is that maybe he's miscast and then he finally figures himself out.
that's exactly where
Um,
I'm coming from.
Tsuji's more of they're going for the uberly popular wrestler who can't win
Hmm.
early on.
Hmm.
If that makes sense. But I'm definitely with you. I think that's a good thing to go with for Shooter.
Yeah,
I think it's gonna work out for him.
as the eventual idea, but if it doesn't work out, you lost the top guy. That's my concern is that they have a gamble. I think Yoda Suji is more charismatic and easily, the charisma easily flows out of him versus Shota. I feel like is doing a performance for me, and I think I wouldn't
People
take
thought
that gamble.
Naito was dead in the water.
And there are people that think Shota. I'm not. I don't think Shota's dead in the water. I think he's going to get pushed, but I just think there's a try hard energy with Shota Umino, and I would like for that to be gone. And I think he needs to figure something out. And I'm waiting for the day for him to figure something out. And
Yuya's their guy though. So
yeah, I'm telling you, I hope Yuya Uemura is like an Okada esque figure that's just
he's
being.
also 28.
Yeah, I hope he is a guy that gets wasted, that seemingly is wasted at Impact, but is not doing anything. But let me talk about the next match. Let's talk about the next match. I'll let you go first. Kazuchika Okada versus Great Okan. What'd you think about this match? Okada beating the former Rev Pro Heavyweight Champion.
It was good. It was exactly what Kazuchika Okada versus Great Okan is, if that makes sense. Like it was exactly what I expected this match to be. Great Okan always like looks like he has what it takes to get a big win, and then he loses.
Yeah.
That is his matches in a nutshell.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There was also like a weird like amount of clunkiness I felt like in this match. I don't know if you felt that, like of Okan. I don't know. I don't know what it
Yeah,
was.
that's Okan. I mean, I'm not a big Okan guy,
Yeah. Yeah.
so it was fun. I really like the
Yeah.
closing stretch. I like the Rainmaker just happening rather than like the usual Okada hit the landslide, hit the thing, or
Mm-hmm.
hit the Emerald Flow. Like I liked that. But
It was all right.
Okada,
I wanted more from Okada, but I didn't really get it.
this was you know what? I'll just save my body for later in the tournament.
Yeah.
I'm not main eventing. I don't give a shit.
I thought the exact same thing. Kaito Kiyomiya versus Yota Tsuji. I love
This was
this
my
match.
favorite match.
This was, I think, also my favorite match of the entire night. I love this match.
And it was all the young guys. So my two favorite matches of the night were just the three Musketeers and
Kaito. And
which,
the Skittles.
I mean, here's the thing though. Like the reality is, as much as we could talk about these Musketeers, I watched this and I was like, wow, Kaito is so far ahead of everyone in terms of like the age. Like,
yeah,
he's 26 and he's this. And obviously Noah's pushed him longer, but he is like, seeing him in the New Japan realm in this show, just like it made me realize he really is the upper echelon of this tournament, let alone this block. Like he is he just has it all covered. And I like the story we're telling with Yota Tsuji. I said to someone yesterday, I was like, he's totally him, but he's also a freaking loser. It's like so weird because and the story seems to be he starts off hot and can't finish the job already. Like that's instantly the story.
Yeah.
And I think that's an interesting story to tell with Yota Tsuji because, like, clearly everyone wants this guy to win. And it's just like, nah, he's going to keep losing.
Yeah.
I was happy he lost to Kaito, though. I think it was more important for Kaito to win than Tsuji to win. This match rocked everything I think you want out of these two. And it's a tale of hopefully a bigger match to come somewhere down the road, perhaps.
Hey man, I would love to see it. I thought this match ruled. I thought they have great chemistry, right? Like first time chemistry. I thought they were. Dude, I love Yota Tsuji.
I know you do.
I want to get. Never mind.
No.
No, I think he's fantastic, and that's why I'm sort of like going back to the Shota conversation. Is like I see Yota Tsuji as like the bigger guy than Shota Umino right now, and maybe the idea is that Shota Umino is a longer term prospect or whatever, a long term project versus Yota Tsuji, where you kind of have to do him now.
I think it's very clear what they're doing, in my opinion. Like Yota Tsuji's one, the older guy.
Yep.
2, re-debuted in a world title match. 3 is an LIJ. Like they are clearly like, okay, we can push him now. We're gonna clearly build up Shota.
Yota Tsuji is not that much older. Ren Narita's 25.
29.
Ren Narita's 25, Shota Umino's 26, and Yota Tsuji's 29. He's only 3 years older than
Yes, but my point is he's 29.
Sure,
This is when Okada was already a multi-time champion by then.
Sure.
So like you gotta just go. Like he's ready to just go, is my point. You just go with him. He's also, to me, someone who he's had the ability, if that makes sense. Like when I saw him as a young lion, he always had the ability. Like he always felt like if you tossed him into the wild and he came back like a few months later, I wouldn't have been shocked.
Yeah.
Just because he feels advanced, if that like that's the type of athlete he is, and they talk about it all the time on commentary. But that is the type of athlete he is. He's just so advanced in that respect. And through his now 2 big matches, you feel that. But again, it's very funny that he can't win. Yes, he will.
Shout out to JM Factor on YouTube. He's joining us on the chat. He said that Tsuji and I believe he said Gabe, which I assume he's saying Gabe Kidd, have the overturn skill in Fire Pro. They start hot, but gas out over time. Which is the same idea. I mean, Gabe Kidd comes out guns a blazing, and then ultimately loses to Chase Owens. Yota Tsuji comes out guns a blazing, doing the suicide dive right as Kaito is still doing his entrance. Yeah, no, I get that. I get that idea.
I'd have Tsuji beat Ospreay at Wrestle Kingdom.
Whoa, for the title, for the U.S. title.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fine. And then in America gets Gene blasted. I think that's a win-win for everybody. I think
you're first in line, baby.
Speaking of Ospreay versus.
Yep. Oh, wait. One thing I loved is that Kaito kind of just like won comfortably at the end.
Mm-hmm.
It really played to the fact that Tsuji just ran out of gas.
Yeah.
Like, he hits all these amazing things, but then he's just, like, dead in the water,
Mm-hmm.
and, like, Kiyomiya just was like he was in his element. He's like, "Alright, that's enough. I'm done with this guy." He felt like Okada of the block, and I was like, "This
Yeah.
this is what they're going for. That's incredible."
There was elements they were on the
Yeah.
outside, and it felt like Kiyomiya's just like kicking around Yusuji, and it was like, see, there's a little bit of Okada-ness right here that I feel.
Yeah. He's
He
got a
he
little spice.
he was in control. Some Vegeta-ness. He's just hard strikes over here, my guy.
Yeah.
Uh,
I don't want this to happen because like, Noah will be doomed without him.
yeah,
My god,
but
he would be incredible if he went to New Japan full time.
yeah, I know. I would love that too.
He would be IWGP World Champion, like, very quickly. Also, his Muta-isms, by the way, work very well now.
I
Now
think
that he's, like, molded them into his style,
yeah. What's
it
interesting
works.
about him is that he works better out of Noah than he works in Noah. I think it's
Oh, yeah.
in comparison to the rest of the roster, he just fits better.
It's what I think they ask oddness from him in Noah, like, they want him to do like, kinda with the
Sure.
how you're talking about, like, they want the epics. I don't think that like, he works better just going, if that makes sense. Like, he's such a good wrestler.
Mhm.
He and this people are gonna take this wrong. He reminds me of Osprey in that he can do a lot of great looking moves and a lot of big moves. And it doesn't need to be like this. It he shouldn't be wrestling Jake Lee.
Yeah.
Okay? Like,
Yeah.
he shouldn't have to do that match.
Yeah.
I think Osprey would suck in that match. Right? It's like you and me were talking about how they did the Cardona match of a Cardona Osprey match rather than an Osprey match.
Mhm.
It would be Kaito did a Jake Lee match rather than a Kaito match. The
Yes.
Kaito match was the Kano match from earlier in the year that was great
Mhm.
when they killed each other, right? That's Kano. That's Kaito. Like, that's great. Him having to wrestle someone else's match almost rarely works.
Yeah.
And that's Noah's guys aren't really good at working.
Yeah, and
Always.
and for the past year or so, he was working Muto matches. He was working.
I did like his Jack Morris match though.
Oh yeah, well, of course.
That's
Because and I feel like that was Kaito versus Kaito. I mean,
Yeah.
I was Jack. There's no way Jack Morris comes in and says, "Hey, bud, we're working my
We're doing
style."
my style, buddy. And I don't know what Yudasuji's style is yet, besides like Gene blasting early, then running out of gas. But like,
Well, there's a refractory period.
we'll get there.
There's a refractory period to the gene blasting.
We'll get there. I'm looking forward to him and Ren on Tuesday. That's going to be really good.
Me too. Next match was Taichi defeating Will Ospreay. I thought this match was also pretty good. What did you think about
This
it?
was weird.
Weird.
I didn't love the eardrum thing.
Yeah, I think it comes down to that. What did you think of the eardrum gimmick?
Like, the match itself was good, but like they did the eardrum thing, and then they just went 50-50 from there on out.
Well,
And
the
I was
idea
like, "What?"
was that Will Ospreay is just beating the crap out of Taichi and is way better than him, and then Taichi gets one good shot hitting the eardrum, disorienting Will Ospreay enough that it becomes 50-50 and Taichi ultimately wins. I like that as a simple like it's kind of a cool sports story.
It is. It
Right.
is.
It's a story you can
There
only
was
tell in wrestling.
part of me where I was like, I feel like this should be even better. If that
Sure,
makes sense.
the fact that they were going for that one-off story,
He better sell that now the entire tournament. Otherwise, I'm going to be very confused.
that'd be
You
interesting.
don't just recover from that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Taichi winning those beast. Can't wait for when we combine the KOPW and
The U.S. title, my pitch. I think it's.
we'll call it the King of USA Championship.
Yeah. I liked this match. I liked the story. I get what you're saying that yeah, we've seen more work ratey matches from them in the past, and this was more of a story driven match. Which I think it worked, but you sort of had that other expectation, and maybe it could have gone that way, but they did we did the story bit, so I think it worked. It wasn't what I was expecting, so I guess it was weird in that sense for me, but I liked how it played out. I liked the story. I liked the eardrum gimmick. I liked Taichi ultimately getting the win. If that's interesting, maybe we do a Taichi.
We're all happy that Taichi won.
Maybe it's Taichi versus Will Ospreay in Wembley. Can we book more matches not for AEW on that show?
What else can we put in Wembley? Every
Uh,
match, every big match ever.
well,
What if it was in Wembley?
Well, there's a night 2 match that we'll talk about momentarily that could be Wembley. The other match on this night was Sonata defeats Hikuleo. This match was fine. It was good, I guess. Hikuleo looked good. I think he looked big monster, right? He looked big monster.
Sure.
Yeah. It was you would I don't know, man. What do you Sonata? What do you want out of Sonata? You good matches?
You leave Sonata alone, buddy.
It was 10 minutes, and like we talk all the time about how Sonata is great at a shorter match, and this was 10 minutes.
Okay, he wrestled Hikuleo, dude.
That's fair. A fair point.
Hikuleo,
a completely fair point.
Hikuleo's not good.
No, I mean he's the new Bad Luck Fale. That's all he is.
That's not a good thing to be.
No, but it's a different thing to be, right?
Yeah, but like, what if it was Big Bill?
Good point. I love Big Bill. Copy there. I'll take
Brian. Or I don't know, Lance Archer. Remember him?
Who?
Like there's just better people. I just realized I never watched this match. I thought for sure I watched this match. I never watched the main event. I just stopped at Taichi Will Ospreay. Had no idea. I thought I guess I talked about Sonata enough with Impact, so that's my Sonata budget on the day. I'll watch it, but
it's fine.
Sounds like I had missed much.
No. But you did watch one match on night 2, and that was Eddie Kingston versus Shingo. What did you think of that match? I have not seen it, so what did you think of it?
It was great. Mm-hmm. It was just great. Like Eddie's so happy. You could feel it every minute of his match. Like he's just so happy to be there. They hit each other really hard many times. You know, a lot of chops to the neck, lariats into one another. It was great. I absolutely love it. Shingo hit the Northern Lights bomb, which is Eddie's finisher in Japan. Shout out to Kira Hokuto. That's Eddie's designated. Does he use it here?
Use what?
The Northern Lights bomb? I don't think he does. He usually uses the back fist and the stretch plum, if I'm not mistaken.
He must. I think he's done it once or twice.
Well, it's a great finisher, so it's a good choice. So Shingo hit that for a good near fall. And then Eddie won. Mm-hmm. Eddie won, baby. Mm-hmm. Eddie won with his own Northern Lights bomb. Very happy. It's my favorite of the tournament so far, but that's because I was looking greatly forward to it. And it was these two absolutely rocking one another. So
I saw
a sprint.
I saw a report from Wrestling Observer this morning as well that Shingo has officially challenged Eddie Kingston for the New Japan Strong Openweight title. The question is, would it happen at Wembley or will it happen in Chicago? I would have to imagine Wembley. Shingo's already there for Rev Pro. So
I'll put money on it not happening at Wembley.
Oh, I'm gonna go Wembley.
Because I think they're gonna do Moxley and Kingston there.
That's also possible. I think it's either
bigger match.
I think it's one or the other. You know, I think it's because they'll do Mox and Eddie at the other.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting All Out's the week after. Mm-hmm. I mean, if they wanted to just do both back-to-back weeks, I'm not gonna say no.
Exactly. So yeah, so we might get seems like
maybe give Shingo a week break after the Ospreay match. That would be okay.
Well, he's either gonna get a week break or a one night to get better. So we'll find out for sure. But yeah,
that'd be a good way though to make up for Shingo, because Shingo absolutely wanted to have a big match in the US and didn't get to. Mm-hmm. So if they put that in All Out, bad either.
I mean, either one would definitely serve.
Yeah, just do it. I don't give a shit where it's happened. Just do it.
Just let me see it. Just let me watch it.
Yeah.
And that was it for the G1 Climax. Obviously, there'll be way more matches to come. If you want to follow along with members of the Countout Network, I talked about him last week. I'll talk about him again this week. Okada Shorts is our New Japan podcast on the network. They are doing their series that's called the G Wondering, where they are going to do short little episodes nearly every single day
The
reviewing.
G1 Blast.
Yep. Ooh, I should pitch that G1 Blast instead.
That's a good one. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, Gene One Blast. But yes, they are having. They'll have their episode 1 of night 1 coming out today, and they'll have night 2 tomorrow. So I will, as soon as I finish up this recording, I will be uploading episode 1. So that is how soon that will be coming out.
Will you be Gene Blasting?
No,
Eddie versus Evils this week.
I have family in town. I can't Gene Blast. Stardom 5-star Grand Prix is starting next week, July 23rd. Is a super long tournament with a bunch of other shows in between, but it goes all the way up till September 30th, my brother's birthday. Instead of celebrating my brother's birthday, I'll be watching the winner of the 5-star Grand Prix. But super long tournament, July to September. Scotty, you wrote a preview for it on Voices of Wrestling. We kind of already talked about the blocks previously, but what are some storylines or what are some matches that you think will be significant along the way here?
I don't usually, talk my stuff up all that much.
Mm-hmm.
Particularly,
he hates talking. He hates talking.
I haven't seen any other written previews, so I could be wrong, but I think I have the best. Truthfully, like I put everything into this goddamn thing.
I'm looking at it now. It has a lot of information. It is very useful.
Tells every person that wants to watch this tournament exactly what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
It gives you everything you need to know. I have all the major stories going on as you got to go lower because you got to get past the blocks in the schedule. But I have stories, I got facts, I got favorites, dark horses, 5 matches to watch, honorable mentions. This is everything. Like, yes, the G1's happening. Yes, this G1's probably gonna be much better than the past few years. It already is, truthfully. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I've already enjoyed the first 2 nights better than most of the past few years.
Mm-hmm.
And that's with Osprey and Okada to come and things like that. But obviously this tournament is the big one for me as a fan, and I think it's gonna be the most watched 5-star ever.
Ooh.
I think the Mercedes Moné stuff helped.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of fans have stuck around.
Mm-hmm.
I think Utami popping up over in America was not a bad choice either.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's going to help,
yeah.
Especially if she goes on to win the tournament. Which I think they've done a lot of smart things to make this the most watched possible tournament yet. And they have a lot of pay-per-views along the way. 5-star and non 5-star pay-per-views. So that's a lot. But yeah, I don't remember your question because I had to put myself over for once.
What are some stories? What are some matches you think that would be important for people to know?
Yes. So stories. I'm not gonna go over every story, but obviously the main story is the Utami stuff. Utami obviously has been the center point of storytelling in Stardom for the past few months, right? They built to that big cage match where she ended up being able to keep Queen's Quest united, pretty much reunite them, and then 1 week later, she told everyone, "I'm gonna go on a trip because I want to be a better single. I want to get back on track as a singles competitor." And since then, Queen's Quest has not won, and Utami is 4-0 now. Spoiler alert for Ring of Honor: she's 4-0. She beat Trish Adora. Which was a Stardom versus New Japan match in Ring of Honor. So that's kind of funny because she's part of the New Japan Academy, I believe now.
Yes.
If that's a thing.
Yes.
But yeah, so the whole story here is she went away to get better. That going away has involved 3 matches against Billy Stark, Shania Kai, Lufisto, and now Trish Adora as well. I'm talking about the GCW matches. It has involved her training with Natalya and Io Shirai. You may have heard of them. Io Shirai, obviously a big one as the former original leader of Queen's Quest. Now, are they going to play into that part? I don't know, but there's a reason, there's a reason that it happened. I think the moment she pulls out the figure 4, not the figure 4, the sharpshooter, then I was like, all right, that's sick. But that's the story to follow. Utami is one of the biggest stories to follow. They've built this up for you to care. She is a potential two-time winner, which would be the first ever of the five-star Grand Prix. And all signs point to her being one of the big cases. And then the other major story to follow,
Can
because I won't go over.
before you say that? So we're talking. You think the likelihood is Utami Hayashishita. Do you think there is someone that could upset her? Maybe like a generational person or something? Is there someone that could, like another block that would serve as a solid upset?
Yeah. So the Red Stars block, and I'll just go through the blocks real quick. So Red Stars blocks Tam Nakano, Mayu Utani, Saya Kamatani, Shuri, Suzu Suzuki, Starlight Kid, Natsupoi, Hazuki, Natsukotora, and Ami Sarai. While the Blue Stars block is Julia, Utami Hayashishita, Maika, Saori Anu, Momo Watanabe, Mirai, Azumi, Mina Shirakawa, Mariah May, and Hanan. The Red Stars block is wide open. Wide open. There is no definitive winner over there, I think, because you have Tam and Mayu. They're not going to go. They're just not. Like
Yeah,
they're both champions.
they'll be
They
up
both
there. They'll be up there for
yeah,
sure.
they'll be respectfully up there come the last night, but they're not going there. So then we I think label it to Saya Kamatani, Shuri, or Suzu Suzuki as finalists
Hmm.
in the Red Stars block. And it's a very interesting situation because had Micah been in this block, I think the lock would have been Micah versus Utami on that final night, but she's not. And that makes this, again, kind of wide open.
Yeah,
Obviously, Starlight Kid, Natsupoi, and Hazuki, they're all great, but I don't see any of them finalists this year
they don't have
unless
the
they go like
momentum really.
no. Sai is interesting,
I was about to
obviously.
say Saya is super interesting, especially if it's a final of Saya versus Utami.
I've sold myself that that should be the final.
Mhm.
I don't know if it will be, but I think it should be. I think there's a lot of story beats to that. Also, I wouldn't be shocked if they wanted to just go right back to Saya. She dropped a interview with Tokyo Sports the other day where she said she wants to walk away from this tournament as the unwavering ace of
Mm.
Stardom.
Well,
She wants to beat Shuri and Mayu and Tam. Like she wants to get all these big wins. And I was like,
to do that, it's nice on the A block side, red block side, but kind of have to beat Utami. I feel like the person who
yes.
is the leader of your own faction.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is interesting. I think Sai is interesting. I think Shuri, despite her final night opponent being Ami Sarai,
Mhm.
should be considered here.
Yeah, I like that you said Saya, Shuri, Suzu Suzuki because I think that plays into three ideas. One, Saya Kamatani and Utami and their history in the past couple months,
Yeah.
really the last month with that steel cage match moment. Shuri is very interesting because that is obviously a sexy ass match right there.
that's their biggest match. That is Stardom's biggest matchup ever.
And then you have Suzu, which I know that you wrote in the Voice of Wrestling article. There's the generational warfare that Suzu is sort of
Yeah.
the leader of, and that versus Utami would sort of tie in both of those stories into the
Right.
finals and would make it a very emotional final, no matter which way you go.
Yeah. Yeah. Suzu's in a good spot going into this tournament because now she's signed. One, that helps.
That helps.
Two, she was a win away last year from making it to the finals. And three, she's a major part of the second biggest story
Hmm.
of heading into this. And the other story I want to talk about, which is the generational struggle, warfare, battle, whatever we prefer to call it. It's generational. Okay. And it's already been excellent just for their regular shows. Like, if you want to get a full taste of like what this is, they have two generational struggle matches so far. Both Cork and Hall, one last month, one this month. I think it just went up on Stardom World, and it's the veteran generation of Mayu Itani, Tam Nakano, Julia, and Shuri going head to head with Suzu Suzuki, Micah Mirai, Saya Kamatani, and Utami Hayashishita. So Utami obviously left for the second battle, but she is part of it. She was in the first one, and that is the main story here. And the latest match did see the vets win. The vets did get the win when Julia pinned Micah, which is expected. I think the vets obviously they're not. This isn't like an old guard or anything.
Hmm.
This is them at the top of their game still, right? Julia, Mayu, and Tam all have singles belts, right? And just came off a year-long reign. Um, and they've now announced the third generational struggle to be part of the tournament.
Hmm.
So on September 9th in Cork and Hall, 3 matches are set to take place, all generational struggle matchups. Be Tam Nakano versus Suzuki, Shuri versus Saya Kamatani, and Julia versus Micah. And I'm sure I'm gonna guess the younger generation gets 2 of the 3 wins there
Hmm.
to notch it up. And that's the story you want to follow because as you brought up, Suzuki is an interesting name. And the reason I brought Shuri up is because if you want to do the veteran versus future, technically, then she's the most reasonable one because I'm not putting Tam back in the finals 2 years in a row, nor as world champion. And
Hmm.
like I said, Mayu's probably not going to that spot either. And if you were to put Shuri, you would have one of these two are going to be a 2-time winner scenario, which I think is interesting. But I think those 3, Saya, Shuri, Suzu, those are your dogs
Yeah.
for the Red Stars block. And then on the Blue Stars block side,
If Utami
the only
doesn't
other
get it, there's always Micah that can ruin things for everybody, which I'm
Mike is
excited for. I
very
love that.
interesting
Yeah.
because she barely loses. Like the loss to Julia was like her first pinfall loss this year.
Hmm.
And that was a roll up, and she was pissed.
Yeah.
And Suzu and Micah have promised each other they'll meet each other in the finals because they have a weird relationship thing going on here.
Yep.
And Micah, Micah's interesting because I think she would win if this didn't lead to the year-end event.
Yeah.
But I don't know if Tam and Micah is that signature match that they want. If Utami was champion,
Hmm.
Micah and Utami's one they would go to. If Julia was champion, Julia and Micah is one they may go to. I don't know if Tam and Micah makes all the sense. Just because there's not really story between those two at all.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing between those two. Outside of now being in the generational struggle. And if you're going to play to the generational struggle, have the leader of it, so Suzu technically, or
Hmm.
just, Utami, who's Utami, be at the head of that. That's what I feel.
Yeah. That would be the most interesting version. You could do like their lieutenants, like Maya
Right.
versus Saya Kamatani. That's
Yeah.
something. Shuri sticks out like a sore
Yes.
thumb in that sense, but
Yeah. I also consider Saya, I guess, because
Shuri would
they've
also
done
work.
Tam and Saya, and
Shuri would also work as sort of a generational Shuri versus Micah.
yeah, that would work. That would definitely work.
Hmm.
It's pretty much just like you don't have the right champion to make all of these work,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. You only
Yes.
have, and Utami and Tam don't face
Hmm.
in the tournament. They don't give away their title match.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's got to be Utami or Micah, I think, winning.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And Utami is obviously the sexier option in that case. Because I would love to have her back in the world title
Utami's
picture.
much. I people. I don't know if people think I'm crazy when I say this, but Utami is so much better now than she was when she was world champ.
I mean, yeah, she's had like 3 years of getting better,
Yeah,
whatever, how
but
long it's
like
been.
people like that reign obviously was very important part of Stardom's rise in popularity.
Hmm.
It would be so much better now,
Yeah,
and I very much need it to happen.
yeah,
I think that they're clearly gearing her up,
yes,
and
a
just
win here
don't
would be
even
big.
hesitate. Don't even hesitate. Just give her the belt.
Yeah, well, that we'll find out in September. Who the winner of this tournament is going to be? Will it be Utami? Will it be Micah? Will it be Shuri? Will it be Sai Kamatani? Will it be Suzuki? Or will it be somebody else entirely? Who the heck knows? But yeah, I'm excited for it. I am definitely going to do it. Watch as much as I can.
15 matches.
Yeah,
15 minutes. 15 minutes. And then
15-minute matches, time limit. I think
not as many matches last year.
the hard, yeah, not thankfully not as many matches as last year. The hard part still is just the length of it all, but hopefully, the fact and part of that length is the fact that there are like they're not really, if I'm not mistaken, they're not really doing that many matches like in the middle of the week. It's mostly on weekends, if not all on weekends.
Yes, yes, yeah.
So
They keep it pretty stretched out,
mhm,
based off of when they start it.
yeah,
So you don't want to compete with G1 stuff, obviously, all that much.
hmm,
Two, to keep the wrestlers fresh.
yeah,
Um, and three, like this is interesting because 2 years ago was when they did the 20 stretched out, and that was a great tournament. Worked out really well because you kind of just got like new names every time, and it's easier to keep up. Like that's the one thing. Like
yeah.
tournament, it's long, but it's easier to keep up. And this time, it's not 157 matches; it's 91.
Thankfully, it's
So
60 matches we're cutting
I
out.
think that will help a lot for a lot of people.
Hmm.
It's not so many matches because when it was stretched out last year, it was like, yeah, it's stretched out and it's long and there's 5 matches per show.
Hmm. Hmm.
I think this is like the perfect recipe for them. I think
Yeah.
um, they'll eventually probably condense it a little more into like when they can run every, but this works better for them, especially with how many tournaments are going on too.
Yeah. I would agree with that.
G1's killer.
G1's killer, and then we get Stardom, which will last a century. But yeah, it should be good. I'm excited for it. I'm really excited. I think that was a good preview, Scotty, because I'm really better understanding about what's happening in Stardom. Because like I said, we talked about previously. Like I think Stardom has a tough time going into the 5-star because I think the first half of the year has been kind of slow, kind of meandering a little bit. And I think if you want to know what's happening, if you've been dropping off, I don't necessarily want to plug another website, but if you want to drop off, that is legitimately a great way. Going to voicesofwrestling.com and reading Scotty's preview because that's going to give you everything that you're going to need if you missed anything for the past
The
several six
second half
months, like I
is
have.
this is where Stardom does their thing, as I like to say.
I
Like the
hope
second
so.
half is their better half.
I hope so.
They have just so many things going on. I'm comfortably gonna say they're gonna do a great second half.
Yeah.
Like I said, they have a lot of pay-per-views in between this. Like they have, so they're doing this is mostly for native fans, but they're doing a tag team festival, which is just fans are voting on tag teams, like dream tag teams,
Yeah.
and they're gonna be like mixed the night of,
A
and they're just
oh, you
gonna
mean
face each
like a
other.
blind
Yes.
tag team eliminator?
So it's good. I think I don't even know if it's a tournament. I think it's just matches. They haven't went that deep into it. But fans are able to vote on the tag team partners.
Interesting.
So like you could see Julie and Tam team up.
Mm.
And I think that's like a fun little thing for them to do.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it will get a lot of positivity because it's like, oh, you don't see this all the
Yeah.
time. And I think it's not like the will they coexist situation. It's more of the let's just throw all these wrestlers into a ring and see what happens. And they
Yeah.
also have 2 pay-per-views in August, which are I have my I have my complaints, but that's just because there's so much going on. There's no
Yeah.
need for 2 pay-per-views.
Yeah.
But whatever. They can run because you know what? They make money on this, so that's why you do it. As
Mhm.
we talked about at the very head of this show,
Mhm.
you run a lot of big shows because it makes you more money.
Exactly right. Exactly right. We're sort of out of time on this show, but we can kind of serve this as sort of our match of the weeks, the last 2 matches that you and I have to talk about. Since you and I are the I didn't watch One Night Dream and you didn't watch Triple Mania, we can do this sort of this way. This sort
I
of
love
works.
that.
So, Scotty, talk about. I'll go first since you just talked a lot about Stardom. I'll give you a
Thank
little
you.
bit. But so plugs, I guess. Follow me on Twitter at Ryan Icy. Follow Scotty at Scotty Wrestling. Follow the whole show at Count Out Pod. Subscribe to our Patreon, patreon.com/Count Out Pod. Um, and yeah, listen to all the shows on Count Out Network. The Kata Shorts have the G Wondering happening now. Your Dose of Death just had another episode released. Yeah, go and Stardom Road. We'll have an episode not this week. So they had one last week, which was the Shuri and her 2021 5-star Grand Prix run. So to give you a little nice little another preview heading into this tournament is sort of giving maybe that gives a little bit of a interest in what Shuri's run could be, or how Shuri's chances are in this year's tournament. My match of the week will sort of serve as the main event of Triple Mania Tijuana. I did watch the semi-main, the main event. Scotty, I'll have you know the semi-main, which is that mask and hair tag team thing where the losers go on to have a mask versus hair match at the Mexico City Triple Mania. That match ended in a draw. Just want you to know. Just want you to know that.
So what happens?
They're having a 4-way. They're having a 4-way. So was the tournament pointless? Kind of. Kind of.
That's gonna be your main event too, right?
Yeah, probably.
That's a shitty main event.
Yeah. And then apparently QT I don't see it, but apparently the QT Marshall Pentagon Jr. match was actually good. So I'll go watch that later. But my main event, my match of the week is going to be El Hijo del Vikingo finally getting his win over Kenny Omega, retaining the Triple Mega title match, Triple A Mega title in Mexico. Not really a big shocker win for me. I had a feeling Vikingo was going to come in and get the win. It was a great match. I don't think it was as good as their AEW Dynamite match. I have seen people.
A.
It's AAA, so they have their own issues with it. I thought also people like this match more, so I would definitely watch it. Go out of your way because you might like it more than the Dynamite. You might like it less. I think they just have very fluid chemistry and they both work very well. I just think that there was a little bit more, especially from Omega, a little bit more like jokiness at the beginning. He sort of like did some foolish Hanma spots with the Vikingo helmet, which was funny, but I was just sort of like, I don't care. Just come on, let's wrestle. They did do a Don Callis bit at the beginning where Don Callis was going to corner Kenny Omega, I believe, or corner Vikingo in this match. And then Conan came out and took the badge or whatever from Don Callis, threw it out, and then Don Callis was forced to leave, which then subsequently, and this is a shoot apparently, he was then attacked by a fan after the show. Don Callis was. Apparently that's a shoot. He is actually going to San Diego to the hospital because he was attacked by a fan. So we'll see how that plays out at Blood and Guts, I guess. But yeah, that's a shoot. Otherwise, the match itself, I thought it was a great match. I didn't like it as much as their Dynamite match, which I loved. But this match was still very much good, very much great. Go out of your way. The sheer wrestling ability out of these two people is phenomenal. You have to go see this match. So go watch it. That's my match of the week. Scotty, any more plugs? And what did you think about your match of the week?
I mean, it wouldn't be my match of the week, but I'll act like it is.
Thank you. Just for the thing for time, but thank you.
Yes. So I have nothing else to plug. Just 5-star Grand Prix preview on Thursday, July 20th, live at 5:30 p.m. If you want to hear me talk more about that, a little more in depth than I did today, talking a little bit about each competitor and what's going on for them and stuff like that. And just read the preview because, like I said, they'll pretty much do everything for you too. Anyways, Kento and Katsuhiko Nakajima, One Night Dream. This match, folks, right? This match. Let's hit the cage match, Ryan. You know how much we love hitting the cage match, right, Ryan?
Oh, I'm on the cage match. You want that match guide rating?
Oh, I know the match guide rating. It is currently on Cage Match the 12th highest rated match of all time. I did not think it was the 12th highest rated match of all time.
That's fair.
I thought it was great.
Give it some time, and I'm sure. I mean, I just refreshed the page and it went down 0.01 rating. So maybe, we'll see.
My main complaint is that they went the Nakajima match style than the Kento match style. So it was a lot slower.
All right.
It's very plotting, but it has a lot of meaning behind every move. You could feel the hatred between the two, but they also saved a lot. I walked away from this match saying they had a great main event. If this was a one-time thing, sure, cool, but never did I feel like in this match it was the final time I was seeing these two go one-on-one. I walked away and I said, "Well, they have to do this again because they fought after the bell.
Mm.
So you have to run it back, and you have to run it back at a bigger venue."
I was going to say they could run it back in All Japan, but I was like, All Japan can't do a bigger venue. I
They
mean, they
do
could.
Oda Ward at least.
I was like, yeah,
Oda Ward's bigger.
They could try for a bigger venue. That's certainly possible.
I'm sure both of them will get one of these matches. Like, I'm sure they're not just gonna be like no only. The crowd was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Crowd ate up every minute. I thought the closing stretch was fantastic. It's not the best match I've seen from Kento this year, personally. I probably maybe Nakajima, but that's because Nakajima's had a pretty quiet year. Um, and I'm not going to say the Jake Lee one was better. Um, it's very good. Obviously, I don't think it's like I don't have it as a match of the year contender or anything. I know a lot of people do. Obviously, I just told you the rating on Cage Match is the 12th highest match of all time. Um, but everyone should go out of their way to see it because you could feel the intensity, you could feel the importance. Um, I might have to. This is one of those matches where I feel like maybe I should probably go back and see it just because, like, I don't ever see an all-timer rating and rarely like feel this differently about it, if that makes sense. So it might be one of those matches I need to go back and check out. Still a great match, but it did feel like the start of this rather than, all right, let's just do it all at one. And you shouldn't just do it all at one, I think. I think you can stretch it out and make something bigger from it. It was interesting that Nakajima won. I was shocked.
Yeah. I
He's
wonder
not
if
an ace of Noah or
no,
anything.
no. Do you think that gives him a little edge going into the N1?
Yeah, maybe. I think you know what's funny? I think it gives Kento an edge to win the feud. Anything. Because like I watched Nakajima and I was like, well, they can't end it here.
Yeah.
Because no one wanted him to win.
Mm-hmm.
He's the bad guy of this. But yeah, I mean, heading into the M1, it's interesting. I think it's Kano winning it. Maybe or Kano and Nakajima are in separate blocks, right?
Mm-hmm. I would have to look that up.
I believe they are. I think Kano's A and Nakajima's B.
Let's see.
And if that's the case, that's
Yes.
probably your final.
Kano is A, Nakajima is B.
Maybe that's your final then. They run that back from 2 years ago.
That's plausible.
Also with the, obviously them breaking up, and Congo dying, that could be a possibility. Also, Kano in blue is disgusting. I hate it. I don't know if you've seen him in the blue. It's weird.
I have not yet. I have not yet, but we'll
I
see.
watched the match before this. It was Kano and Jake Lee versus Dr. Wagner Jr. and Go.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw the blue for the first time, and I was like, "The hell is this?" It was weird. It was really weird. I was like, it looks like someone like it was weird. It was so weird. It was so weird.
Well, there we go. We'll see how it goes. I'm definitely gonna watch it. I've heard a lot of big things.
Maki Ito and Utami took a picture, which is like breaking many, many laws of TJPW. So, anyways, yeah, watch this. Watch Vikingo Omega. Watch a lot of wrestling. I think we talked about a lot of good wrestling today. Also, watch if you have the time, watch the Collision tag team match.
Yeah, I assume that was going to be your proper match of the week.
Yes, yes, it was. It's not going to be for everybody.
Sure,
but I think and I'll say this here because I'm not going to say anywhere else. I think Jay White had his best overall performance in a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a date to say because like I really liked White and Okada. I know a lot of people didn't. So like maybe I think for most people it could even be since that Coda match.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say that. I'd say since the Okada match because that was great at Wrestle Kingdom this year. But if you're looking for a great Jay White performance, this was one of them. I thought he was spectacular.
Yeah, I heard it was like a kind of like a good Southern like tag.
Oh
sort of
yeah.
thing.
Oh yeah, very old fashioned. Felt like there's so I've read some reviews like people. I think people just like hate long matches. I usually don't like long matches either, to be fair. But it was on TV. You know, they kind of perfectly timed the falls right ahead of commercial,
That's
so you
good.
didn't like miss much.
That's good.
They did really good timing it, and I thought they were gonna go to draw, and they didn't. That was maybe the best part.
Mm,
You know, they were 2 minutes away, and they didn't.
that's interesting.
So
That's interesting. Yeah, the match. Oh, the match itself is like an hour. So yeah, I can see why people are like, too long. But yeah, I'm excited. For it.
hour-long matches work better on TV.
Yeah, they can break it up the commercials a little bit. I can do that,
and they can spend the time when I'm not watching.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I think that's it for this week's episode of Ring Post Radio. I forgot to do another plug for Okada Shorts. I was going to do that for as well. They just had an interview that also launched today, along with their G1 during Night 1 that's coming out shortly after I finish recording this. But they just had an interview that came out with New Japan's Aaron Hanare. So go listen to that. He talks about his Maori. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I apologize if I'm not. His ancestry and that responsibility. If you saw that picture, if you saw his G1 Climax debut, you saw that he has now been tatted up, and he is representing that on his face, his ancestry as well. So it's very important to him. You can hear all about that and more, like his Ultimate Triad match of Shingo. That was like 5.25 stars. You can hear about all that stuff and the latest episode of Okada's Short. So yeah, I just want to make sure I got that plug in there because it was good. It was good. All right, that is it for this week's episode of Ring Post Radio. We thank you, everybody. We'll be back next week for an all brand new episode
Nighttime.
for Ring Post Radio Nights. Thank you, Scotty, for reminding me. Ring Post Radio Nights next week, sometime around 7ish probably. Is when we're going to record.
Gene blasted by then.
I'll be certainly Gene blasted by then.
Wine.
I'll be drinking some wine. But yeah, I'll be great blasted, I guess. But we'll talk about it more. And if you missed the show, if you missed the live streams, of course, make sure you subscribe to Ring Post Radio wherever you get podcasts. And that's it. Ring Post Radio out. We love you all. Goodbye.